Chapter 2942. However, Lin didn't tell Ming Yao and Yushu about Chikuan. Lin didn't want them to drag Chikuan down after knowing the truth. All right, stop complaining. Yao Yao, call Grandpa Guan and Professor Bai. Shu, call Wu Qintian, Pai Zhishan, and Han Xiaopa. Tell them to come and protect the villa. As for the hidden house Shuang, Lin didn't contact them. Lin Yi's relationship with them was only built on threats and threats. Lin couldn't guarantee that they wouldn't have other thoughts after hearing that he was crippled. House Xiao's incident had taught Lin a lesson. He knew how to be on guard against people who weren't reliable. All right, despite her complaints, Ming Yao dialed Xu Amin's number right away. She didn't say much on the phone, only telling him that Lin was looking for him and that he needed to come to Donghai's villa as soon as possible. Xu Amin was a bit confused as to why Lin was looking for him so suddenly, but he wanted to come to Donghai to see Guan Xin as well. He agreed immediately and prepared to leave. Boss Bai's side was much easier. He heard that Lin was looking for him, so he rushed over from his school. His school was quite close, so it didn't take long for him to appear at Lin Yi's villa. Seeing that it was Meng Yao who opened the door, Boss Bai was a little surprised. He was already confused enough when Meng Yao called him, and now it was Meng Yao again. Boss Bai was even more confused now. Usually, Lin would call him personally. Meng Yao was the closest person to Lin but this was still a bit weird. Boss Bai couldn't help but ask, Meng Yao, wasn't Lin looking for me? Where is he? Professor Bai, it's hard to say on the phone. Meng Yao's face was a bit pale. Something happened to Lin He's in the room. You'll know when you see him. What? Did something happen to Lin Boss Bai was shocked. Meng Yao didn't bother reminding Lin as she walked into the villa, forgetting to change her shoes. Meng Yao didn't bother reminding Lin though. She didn't have the time to care about that. Pushing the door open and walking into Lin Yi's room, Boss Bai saw Lin lying on the bed with blood all over his limbs. He couldn't help but be shocked. Lin what happened to you? Why don't you heal yourself? Boss Bai was well aware of Lin Yi's capabilities. By logic, Lin should have healed himself a long time ago, but why was he still in such a state? Lin had been calling me for a while now. Lin should have recovered from his injuries by now. Teacher Bai, it's a long story. Lin smiled bitterly, but he didn't hide anything. He told Boss Bai about his experience today in detail, especially about the poison. Lin explained it in great detail. So that's how it is. After hearing this, Boss Bai frowned and fell in a deep thought. Teacher Bai, you are so knowledgeable. Is there really no antidote for this ancient poison? Lin didn't want to give up. If he could find the antidote, then everything would be easy. After all, this poison had the effect of suppressing the mantra. Once he was poisoned, he wouldn't be able to use the mantra. Although Lin Yi's meridians and dantian were all damaged, as long as he could use the mantra, he could use Skybowl Pig or General Weiwu to automatically guide the art of dragon mastery to repair his meridians and dantian. However, if he couldn't use the mantra, then everything was just empty talk. This ancient poison, I seem to have seen it somewhere before. But you also know that I spent most of my time studying alchemy. I didn't even bother to touch anything that wasn't related to alchemy. So, I can't think of any information about this poison in such a short time. Boss Bai shook his head helplessly and said apologetically, but I have a chance to ask junior brother Xianjun. He may know, but old Zhao also said that this poison has no antidote. I'm afraid that even if you know the detailed information, it won't help. Lin Yi said, Boss Bai, under normal circumstances, if the dantian is damaged, how can it be repaired? Repairing the elixir field. Boss Bai narrowed his eyes and was lost in thought. After a while, he raised his head and said, It said that in the ancient times, some experts of the primordial sects could not only repair the elixir field and meridians, but also reshape the body. However, these methods have all been lost. I've only heard some similar anecdote from my master, but he didn't mention the details. I guess my master doesn't know it either, so that's how it is. Lin smiled bitterly. If there's a way to repair it, my meridians wouldn't have been damaged for so long. Boss Bai shrugged and said, After I met you, you helped me heal it. This is the only way I've seen and heard of that can repair other people's injuries. If I wasn't poisoned, it wouldn't be a problem to repair my meridians and Dantian. But now I can't. Lin, he couldn't do anything. If Boss Bai couldn't do anything, then there really was no other way. Lin Yi's only hope now was Jiao Yazi and that damn thing. Forget it, Mr. Bai. You can rest here for a while. I've also called Grandpa Guan to come and have him take a look at my wounds. No matter what, my wound should be healed first. All right, then I'll go to the living room and contact Xinjin first. You can rest first. Boss Bai didn't disturb Lin Yi and stood up, walking out of the room. Meng Yao and Yushu followed him out, leaving Lin Yi alone in the room. Jiao Lao, you know my situation now, right? What should I do? Lin Yi asked anxiously after entering the Jade space. Kid Lin, you're in a bad situation right now. The art of dragon mastery is completely suppressed, and I can't think of a solution right now. Jiao Yazi's face turned serious as well. He must be feeling a headache for Lin Yi's current situation. Where's that damn thing? Lin Yi looked at the corner of a Jade space. There's no reaction. It's probably in hibernation mode again. Jiao Yazi said, it might be able to help you when your life is in danger, but that's under the condition that it's awake. If it's not awake, it wouldn't even know you're dead. Chapter 2943. Other than the art of dragon mastery, do you remember any other methods to repair the meridians in Dantian? Lin Yi asked. Not at the moment. Jiao Yazi shook his head. Lin Yi didn't ask anymore. Jiao Yazi had already said everything he needed to say. He didn't know the rest, so Lin Yi could only give up for now. As for his external injuries, Lin Yi already had a treatment plan in his mind. Although the broken bones in his 4 limbs were quite serious, caused by that little bastard Zhao Qibing, Lin Yi was still confident that he could recover. Before he became a practitioner and didn't know the benefits of the art of dragon mastery, Lin Yi's medical skills were very good. To an assassin like Lin Yi, getting injured was a common occurrence, so his treatment methods were very good. So, as long as Lin Yi came up with a prescription and an acupuncture treatment method, it would be fine. He believed that with Guan Shuamin's medical skills, it wouldn't be a problem if he had a treatment plan. As expected, at night, Lin Yi told Guan Shuamin his suggestion, and Guan Shuamin agreed without hesitation. Originally, Guan Shuamin came to Lin Yi's place happily and wanted to call Guan Xian as well, but after knowing about Lin Yi's injuries, he naturally couldn't call Guan Xian. She would be worried if she saw him. Your injuries this time are very serious. If it wasn't for your treatment plan, even I wouldn't be 100% sure if it was me, Guan Shuamin said. Yeah, but it can only treat the external injuries on the surface. As for the other internal injuries, I can't do anything for now, Lin Yi sighed. The level of your opponent right now is beyond my capabilities. I can't help you, Guan Shuamin said. But you have to persevere. If you really can't do it, just hide. I don't want XNXN to be sad. Lin Yi's heart moved. He knew what Guan Shuamin meant, but Lin Yi couldn't give Guan Xian too much of a response right now. Lin Yi had enough women around him, and it wasn't good for him to give Guan Xian any more promises. He could only let nature take its course. But Lin Yi still nodded. I understand. Thank you for the reminder, Grandpa Guan. In actuality, when Lin Yi had no other choice, he had thought of hiding and bringing Meng Yao, Yushu, Han Jingjing, and the others back to West Star Village. According to Old Man Guan, even if a Sky-class late-phase peak went there, it would be easy to kill them. As long as they didn't leave the village, they would be safe. But if Pai Jishan, Han Xiaopa, Wu Qintian, and the others all stood on Lin Yi's side, Lin Yi's enemies in the Hidden Plain would still be wary. As for his enemies in the Ancient Plain, even if Lin Yi wasn't injured, if a few elders from the Everyday and Everyday sect came to surround him, he would be dead for sure. It was the same for the people from the Five Elements sect. Lin Yi didn't have much of a chance to fight back, and so Lin Yi decided to observe the situation first. After all, the situation this time was different from the past, and those low-level clowns wouldn't act rashly. At night, Wu Qintian, Wu Gonggao, Han Xiaopa, Han Tianba, Pai Jishan, Pai Jihai, and Old Man Pai all came to Lin Yi's villa. Lin Yi didn't expect so many people to come. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief as well. This way, with Old Man Pai as Sky Class and a group of Earth-class masters, he wouldn't have to worry about the hidden plane. As for the ancient plane, Lin Yi really couldn't imagine who would want to go against him. Hidden House Zhao. After Qibing and Qikuan returned to the hidden house, they sat respectfully in the meeting room, waiting for old Zhao to announce the next step. Soon, old Zhao walked into the meeting room and looked at Qibing and Qikuan, asking faintly, "How is it? Sending Lin Yi back was smooth, right? Don't mention it. I wanted to kill that girl Yushu, but who would have thought that you from the hidden house you would stop me, not letting me touch the people around Lin Yi?" Qibing said hatefully. "What? House you is interfering?" Old Zhao frowned after hearing Qibing's words. What was going on? Could it be that House Yu didn't approve of killing Lin Yi? Or House Yu's Yuning, manipulating old Yu's thoughts? I'm not sure about that. I'm a little regretful that I didn't kill Lin Yi on the way. If the hidden House Yu interfered, then Lin Yi's enemies wouldn't dare act rashly. Even the hidden house, you wouldn't be able to go against the hidden House Yu. Qibing said regretfully. It's good that you killed him. I approve of it. After you kill him, Lin Yi's ancient follower will come after you, and I'll be the head of the house, Qikuan said with a smile. Chitan, don't say any more. Old Master, Zhao suddenly waved his hand. Grandpa, Qikuan paused. Qikuan, after thinking about it, the position of the young head has to go to Qibing. After all, I promised him first. As for you, you've betrayed the house before, and now you're betraying the boss. That's not enough to convince everyone. So if you stay in our hidden house, I can get you the position of Elder Mian. Old Zhao poured a bucket of cold water on Qikuan's head. Qikuan's face changed. He didn't care about the position of the head of the house. After all, he was a spy. But he didn't expect his grandpa to be this heartless. Even the competition he promised was fake. He was afraid that this wasn't some so-called careful consideration at all, but that Elder Zhao had planned this from the start. He wanted to get rid of the donkey after Lin Yi's incident was over, and he didn't even consider making him the head of the house. It was all a scam. As expected, this kind of crazy person didn't deserve to be Qikuan's family anymore. Now, Qikuan had finally made up his mind to cut ties with the hidden house. In the past, he'd always had some fantasies, but after this, and thinking about how old Zhao treated Ba Zhu and Second Zhu, Qikuan felt that he was just a pawn by old Zhao's side that he could use. Chapter 2944. Grandpa, you've been lying to me all this time, haven't you? Qikuan's face changed. Old Zhao paused, but didn't hide it. He nodded. That's right. If I didn't lie to you, why would you change sides so willingly? Lin Yi was betrayed by his follower. He must be in pain. Huh. So that's it. You used me. Qikuan's face darkened as he lowered his head. Zhao Qikuan, think about who you are. You've already betrayed House Zhao once. How could we put you in an important position? With a pig brain like yours, you still want to fight for the position of head of the house. How is that possible? Qibing finally understood the truth now, and couldn't help but mock Qikuan. Now you give up, right? So, no matter how hard I try in your eyes, I'm not as good as Zhao Qibing. Qikuan sighed. Aren't you afraid that I'll switch to Lin Yi's side? Oh, can you? Old Zhao looked at Qikuan with a smile that wasn't a smile. You think that if you go back and tell Lin Yi will accept you? Don't forget who broke his arm. Qikuan's face went ashen, but his eyes shone with unwillingness. Why? I brought back the third-level pill too. There's no why. As the head of the house, you have to disregard your own family. Zhao Qibing did this better than you. That's all. Old Zhao said faintly. If you really want to ask why, then it's because Zhao Qibing is Zhao Guangyin's son. Him ascending to the position is more in line with House Zhao's current stability. If you ascended to the position, let's not talk about whether or not Zhao Guangyin would agree to it. Even his own people wouldn't want to see this. I see. Qikuan nodded, disappointed. In fact, he was just acting. I understand. I don't need the position of Elder Mian. I'll be free from now on. It'll be nice to be a spoiled brat. That's right. It's good that you've thought things through. Qibing breathed out in relief at the sight of Qikuan's despair. His grandpa was on his side, but it'd be troublesome if Qikuan kept causing trouble. Just be like me before, being a spoiled rich kid. There's nothing bad about that. I understand. Qikuan stood up and left, as if he didn't want to say anything more. Old Zhao and Qibing looked at each other and smiled. This was the best result. If Chikuan didn't fight for it, then let him be. House Zhao didn't need too many people anyway. We need to keep a close eye on Lin Yi and see what the hidden house he was planning. Old Zhao said, "All right, I'll be at the floating cloud bar for the next few days. It's very close to Lin Yi's house. I'll just gather information there," Qibing said. The next morning, Xuemin followed Lin Yi's orders and went to get the medicine and started treating Lin Yi. Qintian and the others, on the other hand, were acting as bodyguards around the villa. What made Lin Yi feel relieved was that after so long, the news should have spread out, but none of the hidden houses came looking for Lin Yi. Instead, it attracted the two brothers of the hidden house. "Wu Qintian, boss is injured. Why didn't you tell us? Do you think we're weak? Although we don't have any sky class, you can't look down on us like that, can you?" Zhuang Niapeo looked at Qintian angrily. Qintian smiled bitterly. "We don't have any sky class either, right? Boss didn't invite you guys. Maybe it's because House Zhuang is further away? What about House Pai?" Zhuang Niapeo wasn't satisfied. "House Pai is further away than us." "All right, Zhuang Niapeo, House Pai only came because we have a sky class master. Since we're here, let's protect our boss together. There's no point in talking about this." Zhishan tried to smooth things over. "That's true." Zhuang Niapeo gave Zhuang Niapeo a look, telling him not to worry too much about this. He had a rough idea of what was going on. Perhaps it was because House Zhuang was the last to join Lin, so Lin Yi didn't really trust them, so he didn't invite them. But the more it was like this, the more Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niapeo wanted to move forward. Since they had started working with Zhou Tiandi, the two brothers, Zhou Tiandi and Zhou Ruoguang, would often see each other, and they would always talk about how strong Lin Yi was. Among all the powers in Songshan, only House Zhou stayed loyal to Lin Yi. That's why they were able to survive. Those who were half-hearted and arrogant, like the Golden Bell sect, were all killed. And so, House Zhuang's thoughts were subtly influenced, and they felt that following Lin Yi was the best choice. When they heard that Lin Yi was injured, they didn't think about House Zhuang's future. They came to protect Lin Yi first. From their point of view, Lin Yi's injuries were definitely healed, so they didn't think too much about it. However, the arrival of the two Zhou brothers made Lin Yi heave a sigh of relief. It seemed like his lackeys were quite reliable. Just when Lin Yi was happy about his lackeys, in the villa came the first unhappy thing that happened after Lin Yi was injured. In front of Lin Yi's villa, a deafening roar came. "Is this where that brat Lin Yi lives?" The voice was filled with disdain and contempt. Qintian and the others were shocked and quickly walked out of the villa, only to see a middle-aged man in black standing in front of the villa with an arrogant face. His eyes were looking up at the sky, as if he was the only one in the world. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Qintian looked at the strength of the person in front of him. It was an Earth-class late-phase peak, but Qintian was with Lin Yi, and he had seen Sky-class masters before, so why would he be afraid of an Earth-class late-phase peak? "You are that brat Lin Yi?" The black-clothed man looked at Qintian and snorted. "Why are you looking for our boss?" Zhuang Niapeo didn't like the black-clothed man's attitude. Although he was an Earth-class late-phase peak, he had a group of Earth-class practitioners on his side. Plus, there was also the old man Pai, a Sky-class master. "Your boss? So, you are that brat Lin Yi's lackeys?" The black-clothed man looked at Zhuang Niapeo and the others in shock. He didn't expect Lin Yi to have so many lackeys. Chapter 2945. As he spoke, he mobilized the spiritual energy of heaven and earth around him, revealing his heavenly rank external practitioner strength. "Sky class? So what?" The man in black wasn't scared at all, but looked even more disdainful. "You're just a bunch of practitioners from Hidden House. You think you're so strong? What are you trying to do? Let's cut the crap." Old Pai's face didn't look too well. He was a Sky class, and being looked down upon by an Earth class naturally didn't make him happy. If it was someone like Lin Yi, then it'd be fine, but this was someone he'd never seen before. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm from an ancient sect, the Dark Palace," the man in black said proudly. I'm an elder and emissary of the Dark Palace. Why aren't you kneeling? Ancient sect? Old Pie frowned. He'd heard of the Dark Palace before, and while it was one of the weakest ancient sects, it was still an ancient sect, and they still had some foundation. Naturally, Old Pie couldn't go against them. As far as I know, ancient sects never interfere with the common world and hidden sections. Are you breaking the ancient rules by coming here? Since Lin joined the Sky Elixir Sex test, he's not from the common world anymore. Plus, we're here for our Dark Palace's business. We're not here to interfere with the common world or the hidden plane. The man in black wasn't happy with what Old Pie said, but he couldn't just say that the Dark Palace ignored the ancient rules. What do you want? Old Pie said faintly. Can you represent Lin? Get that kid out here right now. The man in black from the Dark Palace said coldly. You're looking for me? Lin was pushed out of the villa by Meng Yao and Yushu. When Lin heard that the man was from the Dark Palace, he got a headache. He didn't think that the Dark Palace would be so vengeful, coming to the common world to cause trouble for him. He was now a cripple. How was he going to deal with this? Although the opponent was only an Earth-class late-phase peak, and Old Pie could take care of him, but if Old Pie killed him and another Sky Class came, or 2 or 3 Sky Class Masters, how would he deal with it? But Lin thought too much. Even if the Dark Palace was shameless, they wouldn't dare to go against the ancient rules. The Dark Palace just took advantage of a loophole. If it involved the interests of the ancient sects and could be resolved peacefully, they would allow people of the ancient level to come to the mortal world to deal with private matters. But this elder's pretentiousness was completely his own. To him, he was just trying to scare Lin. The other ancient sects wouldn't be able to see it anyway, and they wouldn't be able to say anything. His real goal was to force Lin to hand over the level 3 Great Recovery Pill. So you're Lin Yi's junior? The black-clothed man looked at Lin and was stunned. How did you become a cripple? Did you do too many bad things, and now you're being punished? If you have something to say, then say it. Lin frowned. What was this black-clothed man doing here? Lin wasn't sure. Logically speaking, he didn't kill the 2 disciples from the Dark Palace, so he basically had no grudges with them. Even if they wanted revenge, it should be the everyday and tomorrow sect that came after him. Why would it be the Dark Palace? During the trial, you stole 2 of my disciples' herbs. I heard that you gave them to you and your little brother. The black-clothed man said, Our Grand Elder orders you to return these 2 herbs immediately. Otherwise, it will be a provocation to the Dark Palace, a declaration of war. Lin was confused by the black-clothed man's words. The herbs were all given to the Sky Elixir sect. If you want them, then go ask them. What are you doing here? You and your little brother stole our herbs in exchange for 2 level 3 Great Revitalizing Pills. Don't think I don't know. The black-clothed man said, Since you don't have the spirit medicine for the trial, then give me the 3rd grade Great Cyclic Pill that you exchange for with the spirit medicine. Lin finally understood why he was here. It was for the 3rd level Great Huan Pill. After beating around the bush and saying so much, he just wanted to snatch the grade 3 Great Cyclic Pill away. If Lin wasn't injured, he would have slapped the guy away a long time ago. But now, even if he was facing an Earth-class late phase peak weaker than him, Lin couldn't let his guard down. He had to be careful. What are you laughing at? Hurry up and hand over the loot, and I'll exempt you from your punishment. Otherwise, you're openly going against the Dark Palace. The black-clothed man laughed coldly. Openly going against the Dark Palace? Lin thought it was funny. I think you guys are going against the Sky Elixir sect, aren't you? We made it clear during the trial that no matter what happens in the trial, it can't be brought out of the trial grounds. I think you guys are going against the Sky Elixir sect. What do you know, you brat? The black-clothed man frowned. Although Lin was right. He was going against the rules of the Sky Elixir sect, but would the Sky Elixir sect pick a fight with the Dark Palace over a lone practitioner? Of course not. They were all from ancient sections. Although they didn't have a good relationship, they wouldn't fall out over such a small thing. Which ancient sect didn't have some dirty tricks up their sleeves? If everyone slapped each other in the face, then there wouldn't be any meaning to it. So as long as it was okay on the surface, it was fine. This was also why the Dark Palace dared to break the rules and come here. Even if the Sky Elixir sect knew, would they really stand up for Lin E? Lin E or the Dark Palace? It was obvious which one was more useful to the Sky Elixir sect. We're just taking back what we deserve. This is an internal matter of our sect. What does it have to do with the Sky Elixir sect? The black-clothed man said confidently. What if I don't give it to you? Lin E asked back. Don't give it to you? Then just wait for the revenge of the Dark Palace. Although you have a Sky Class Master by your side, I don't believe that your Sky Class Master would dare to attack me. The black-clothed man said confidently. Chapter 2946. What's more, Lin E didn't know how strong the Dark Knight Palace was. If it was a big sect, then Lin E would have a headache. Based on the Man in Black style, all sects were like this. If Lin E provoked them, there would be endless trouble. My little brother is from the ancient Feng family and the Holy Fist Palace, and there's another called Gu Xian. He comes and goes without a trace. If you can find him, then go and ask for it. Lin E thought about it and said to the Man in Black, Junior Lin E, don't talk nonsense. Don't think that I don't know that you have a third-grade recover pill in your hands, and your little brother from the hidden Zhao family also has a third-grade recover pill. I want these two pills. Don't talk about the ancient Feng family and the Holy Fist Palace. The black-clothed man wasn't an idiot. He'd already heard about the situation from the first and second disciples of the Dark Palace. The Dark Knight Palace dared to ask Lin E and Zhao Qikuan for the pill, but they didn't dare to ask the Holy Fist Palace and the ancient Feng family. Wasn't that looking for death? As for Gu Xian, he was also from the ancient level, and he was a rogue cultivator who sold information. This kind of rogue cultivator, the Dark Knight Palace didn't dare to provoke him. If he slanted his mouth, everyone in the ancient level would know what the Dark Knight Palace did. That would be embarrassing. Zhao Qikuan is no longer my little brother. My injury was caused by the hidden Zhao family. If you want to find him, go to the hidden Zhao family. I can't do anything about it. Lin, he said lightly. What? The Man in Black was stunned. Really? You're not fooling me, are you? Why would I be fooling you? Lin, he shook his head and said, As for my third-level recover pill, I've already eaten it, but it doesn't seem to have any effect because my elixir field is broken. Huh? You've eaten it? Your elixir field is broken? The black-clothed man was a little dizzy. He didn't expect that his request for the recover pill would be so unsuccessful. He thought that by scaring Lin E, he would be able to get to him. It's not a secret. You can find out the truth about me being injured by the hidden Zhao family. I was injured, but I didn't eat the recover pill. Why did I keep it? Lin E asked. Your dantian is broken. Why are you still eating the recover pill? Isn't that a waste? The Man in Black said hatefully, What a waste. Think what you want. If you want a Grand Restore pill, I already told you to ask Feng Shipian, Li Siba, and Gu Xian. I don't have any left, said Lin E. You. Just you wait. I'll report this to the Grand Elder and see how she punishes you. When a Man in Black heard Lin E say so, he didn't say much. He waved his hand and turned to leave. He left just like that. Chen Tian paused, thinking that the black-clothed man was really gullible. He left just like that after Lin E said so. I'm afraid I'll have to come back. Lin E sighed. I've dealt with it for now, but it seems like the Dark Palace won't let this go easily. After the black-clothed elder of the Dark Palace left, he returned to the hotel he was temporarily staying at and called the Grand Elder. It's Elder Black. How did it go? Lin E, that brat, returned the pill to us, right? From the Grand Elder's perspective, this was an extremely easy thing to do. Lin E heard about the ancient sects, so why wouldn't he return the pill? After all, this was different from the trials. One's background was the deciding factor, not one's personal strength. No, Grand Elder, there's something wrong. The black-clothed elder said. What? That Lin E kid doesn't want to give it to you? The Grand Elder's tone changed, getting a little angry. It's not that he doesn't want to, it's like this. The black-clothed elder quickly told the Grand Elder about Lin Yi's fight with the hidden house, Zhao, and how he got injured. After the Great Elder heard this, he was very surprised. Is this true? He's telling the truth? This should be true. After all, we just need to ask around. The black-clothed elder said helplessly. Now that Lin, he doesn't have the pill, what should I do? I can't just kill him, can I? We won't go so far as to kill him. He's just an ant, but we're an ancient sect. Killing people without cause or effect will give us a reason to do so. You can scare him a little, use that Chu Mingyao girl as a hostage, and get him to get the pill back from Gu Xian. Otherwise, beat that Chu Mingyao until she's crippled. See if he'll give it back. If he doesn't, then I'll beat up her father Pingzhan until he's crippled. I don't believe that Lin Yi won't give it back. As for Zhao Qikun, he's just a hidden house. You go there yourself. They won't dare refuse. The Grand Elder said after some thought. Yes, then I'll go find Lin Yi tomorrow. The black-clothed elder's mouth twitched. He vaguely knew who Ming Yao was. It wasn't a secret in the Palace of Darkness, and anyone with a bit of status would know about it. But since the Grand Elder insisted, the black-clothed elder had no choice but to agree. He wasn't elderly. He didn't have any feelings for Meng Yao, and Peng Zhan was even more so. After hanging up, the black-clothed elder decided to go to the hidden house Zhao and get the pill back, as well as find out more about what Lin Yi said. The hidden house Zhao was also in Donghai, and while it wasn't that close to Lin Yi's villa, it didn't take long for the black-clothed elder, an Earth-class late-phase peak, to get there wasn't much time. After a while, he arrived at the entrance of the hidden house Zhao's villa. Who's there? This is private property. If there's nothing else, please go back. The guard disciple's words were tactful. After all, there were regular people who came in here by mistake, and they couldn't just treat them like that. This is the hidden house, Zhao. The black-clothed elder looked at the disciple and asked, Oh, you know about the hidden house, Zhao? Who are you? What business do you have here? The disciple's face froze as he asked, Get your manager out. Tell him that there's an important guest. The black-clothed elder said arrogantly, Important guest? The disciple's face changed. Are you here to cause trouble? Just say who you want to see. Don't go looking for trouble. This isn't a place for you to do as you please. What? You're not going to report it? The black-clothed elder said as he revealed his Earth-class late-phase peak strength. Earth-class late-phase peak? The disciple was shocked. While there was a Sky-class early phase in the house, an Earth-class late-phase peak was still a rare sight. He didn't dare delay. Then please wait. Chapter 29:47. The guard told Elder Mian that there was an Earth-class late-phase peak at their doorstep, and Elder Mian informed Old Zhao immediately. Not long after, Old Zhao came out with Zhao Qibing. They didn't dare to be careless, wondering if they were here to get revenge for Lin Yi. But that couldn't be. Lin Yi knew that he was a Sky class, so why would he bring an Earth class late-phase peak? Was he trying to get himself killed? They quickly came to the door, and Old Zhao saw the black-clothed man. He didn't know him at all, and couldn't help but ask, May I ask what brings you here? You're the steward of the hidden house, Zhao? The black-clothed elder looked at Old Zhao and asked, Yes, I am the head of the hidden house, Zhao. And you are? Old Zhao frowned. It didn't seem like he was here to get revenge for Lin Yi. So what was he here for? Long story short, Lin Yi has a follower called Zhao Qikun, right? The black-clothed elder asked. He's a disciple of the hidden house Zhao, right? Yes. Old Zhao hesitated but nodded. After all, there was no way to hide this. Whether or not Zhao Qikun was from the hidden house was something that could be easily found out. But now he was troubled. Was it because of Lin Yi? Lin Yi and his followers stole our disciple's medicine during the Sky Elixir test, and our Grand Elder is furious. He sent me here to tell you to hand over the medicine for the 3rd-level Great Recovery Pill, and we'll let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, the black-clothed elder threatened. What? Lin Yi and Zhao Qikun's medicine was stolen from your palace? Old Zhao froze. He knew about the Dark Knight Palace, an ancient sect. Although he didn't participate in the Heavenly Elixir Sect's trial, he knew that there was no status or background in the trial. What happened inside was up to fate, who would settle scores after the trial. What was going on with the Palace of Darkness? That's right. Hurry up and hand over the 3rd-grade Great Recover Pill. I guarantee that you'll be fine. the black-clothed elder impatiently urged. Old Zhao and Qibing looked at each other. They didn't know why these people from the Dark Palace would break the rules and ask for the pill, but Qigwen had already given the pill to old Zhao, so naturally, he wouldn't hand it over. Qigwen had given up the pill in exchange for the position of young master, and now that he no longer had that position, old Zhao pretended like he didn't know and kept the pill for himself. Lin, he doesn't only have Zhao Qigwen, and Lin, he has a third-level recovery pill too. You can ask Lin Yi for it. Qibing encouraged. Lin, he was injured by you guys, and he ate a great recover pill. It's a waste. If I could ask him for it, I wouldn't need your bullshit. Don't say that. If you don't want to suffer, then quickly hand over the recover pill. Otherwise, I'll get impatient and break your dog legs. When the elder in black saw that the hidden Zhao family's people were so uncooperative, he immediately became angry. Break my legs? Then I won't hand it over. Fight me if you dare. Qibing's eyes lit up as he spoke with determination. You think I won't fight you? The black-clothed elder was furious as well. He kicked at Qigwen's legs, 1,000 legs, third form. Bang, crack. Qibing's legs were broken, but he stared at the elder in front of him with his mouth agape. It wasn't because of anything else, but because the elder's technique was also called 1,000 kicks. Qibing knelt on the ground, but he had forgotten the pain. His eyes were shining with anticipation. Master, please accept this bow from your disciple. The black-clothed elder froze. Was there something wrong with this Qibing? His legs were broken, and he was kneeling on the ground. Why was he suddenly asking to be his master? I broke your leg, not your head. Is there something wrong with you? Who's your master? Master, I won't hide it from you. I've been practicing 1,000 legs, and that's why I asked you to break my legs. I've been trying to figure out on my own, and now that I've seen you, I naturally kneel before you. Qibing wasn't an idiot. He knew that this was an opportunity. Kong Mingming of House Kong had become the 8th elder of Sky Elixir. What kind of opportunity was this? Pin Liang was able to become a disciple of the day in everyday sect, and he, Qibing, had a higher starting point than them, but he had always been a nobody. Now that he had this opportunity, how could he let it go? Although Qibing didn't know how big the Dark Palace was, it was still an ancient sect. With an ancient sect as their backing, would House Zhao still be the same House Zhao from before? Elder He didn't listen to Qibing's nonsensical flattery. He was surprised to hear that Qibing had broken his leg in order to practice 1,000 kicks. He couldn't help but ask, did you break your leg before you became a practitioner, or after you became one? I broke them before, and I broke them after. Qibing wanted to answer according to the black-clothed elder, but he wasn't sure what answer the elder wanted. He could only answer truthfully. Oh, so before you became a cultivator, you also broke your legs? Did you break both your legs? The black-clothed elder quickly asked. Yes, both legs were broken. Qibing didn't know what was going on, but he still nodded. Don't move, let me check. The black-clothed elder immediately bent down and checked Qibing's legs, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. He kept saying, not bad, not bad. Master, you've decided to take me in as your disciple? Qibing was surprised and happy when the black-clothed elder praised him, and he quickly asked, that? The black-clothed elder hesitated. I'll have to ask the Grand Elder first. I can't give you an answer right now. Although the black-clothed elder thought that Qibing was a good seedling and really wanted to take him in as his direct disciple, the Grand Elder was very domineering in the Dark Palace, and his words carried enormous weight. If he wanted to take in a disciple, he had to get the Grand Elder's approval first. Chapter 2948. Before becoming a cultivator, it was possible to completely recover a broken leg, but after recovering it was rare to be able to cultivate, and it had to be a cultivator with the metal attribute, and it was even rarer to be able to cultivate to the earth rank. Especially for an ancient sect like the Dark Palace that lacked resources and disciples, it was a difficult thing for the black-clothed elder to find a successor. Suddenly seeing Zhao Qibing, naturally he was tempted. Of course, whether or not he could accept a disciple still depended on the Supreme Elder's opinion. Master, I'll take the third-level Great Huan pill as a gift for you, master. Qibing quickly said, Okay, I'll ask for you. The black-clothed elder's tone and expression were much friendlier. He waved his hand at Zhao Qibing, signaling him to calm down and walk to the side to make a call. Elder Zhao, on the other hand, gave Zhao Qibing a thumbs-up in admiration. Now that House Zhao had a disciple from an ancient sect like Zhao Qibing, it was impossible for them not to prosper. To be able to get a level 3 recover pill without any effort and also get a proud disciple, it was a good deal no matter how you looked at it. But the great elder of the Palace of Darkness was arbitrary, so the black-clothed elder had to ask for permission. However, this time, the Supreme Elder did not interfere too much and directly nodded in agreement, allowing the black-clothed elder to heave a sigh of relief. Of course, I can take you as a disciple. Come with me to the Dark Palace in a few days. Tomorrow morning, I need to go to Lin Yi's house again. Do you want to come? The black-clothed elder asked. Yes, of course I'll go. I'll go wherever Master goes. Qibing quickly said, all right. If that's the case, I'll stay at your hidden house for the night. Tomorrow morning, you and I will go find Lin Yi and ask for the elixir. The black-clothed elder nodded, satisfied with Qibing's answer. Late at night, Heavenly Elixir Sect. Inside the Silkworm Transformation Room, Little Peach had already fallen asleep. As for Tian-chan, she was sitting in her seat, cultivating as usual. Suddenly, the window moved. It was a very small sound. If one didn't listen carefully, they wouldn't have noticed it. Come in. Tian-chan opened her eyes and said lightly. In the next moment, a black-robed figure floated into Tian-chan's room. It was a masked woman dressed in night clothes. However, her body did not emit any aura at all. It was as if she was a dead person. If she hadn't purposely made some noise, Tian-chan probably wouldn't have noticed her arrival. She had hidden her strength to an extent that was difficult for others to detect. Tian-dai greets young lady. The black-clothed woman respectfully knelt at the feet of Tian-chan, but her voice was cold and unfeeling. Little Dai, why did you come back so suddenly? Is there something important? Tian-chan was a little puzzled. Why did Tian-dai come back at this time? Although Tian-dai's strength was the same as hers, at the peak of the late phase of Heaven class, when she suppressed her strength, even the Xinshan ancestor wouldn't be able to detect her. However, in order to keep it a secret, Tian-chan rarely summoned Tian-dai. Tian-dai was an orphan that Tian-chan saved when she was young. Before Tian-chan became the young master of Heavenly Elixir Sect at the age of 8, she had always been Tian-chan's maid. However, she cultivated together with Tian-chan and improved together. The two of them shared the same resources, and their cultivation speed was about the same. However, the secret that Tian-dai was also a cultivator was not known in the Heavenly Elixir School. Not even Tianji Xing, Tiandi, and Rinrin knew about it. This was one of Tian-chan's secret trump cards. After taking over the position of Heavenly Elixir School's young master at the age of 8, Tian-dai died due to an accident. The person who replaced her was Little Peach, a normal girl. Tian-dai was actually not dead. Instead, she had been secretly hidden away by Tian-chan. Tian-dai had always viewed Tian-chan as her idol. Tian-chan's unswerving determination and callousness since she was young, and her swift and decisive actions after becoming the young sect master, had subtly influenced Tian-dai. Towards Tian-chan's almost paranoid worship, Tian-dai also tried to imitate Tian-chan's character as much as possible. However, she only learned Tian-chan's cold and indifferent appearance. Tian-chan became the young master of Heavenly Elixir Sect with the identity of a woman. Every day, she didn't do it for herself. Only Tian-chan knew the hardships involved. However, Tian-dai didn't understand these things. Since young, she liked to imitate Tian-chan. She was like what Tian-chan was like. She liked to be Tian-chan's shadow. All these years, she had been secretly cultivating a new force that was different from Heavenly Elixir Sect. Not only was she a trump card of Tian-chan, but she was also Tian-chan's eyes and ears outside. Although Tian-dai found it strange that Tian-chan suddenly wanted her to pay attention to a man called Lin. She still carried out Tian-chan's orders without reservation. Even if she had doubts, she would still complete it seriously. Miss Lin Yi attended the hidden house Zhao's banquet and was set up by them. After being poisoned, he became a cripple. His meridians and dantian were destroyed. Tian Dai narrated the events of the past few days expressionlessly. What? Hidden house? Zhao set up Lin Yi? Tian-chan's eyes widened in disbelief. Wasn't Zhao Qikuan Lin Yi's follower? In Heavenly Elixir Sect's Inn, Tian-chan had seen him before. He didn't look like the type of person who would betray others. Why did he set up Lin Yi? However, she didn't have time to ask the reason. Tian-chan asked subconsciously, "Then why didn't you save him?" "Save him?" Tian Dai paused. "Miss, didn't you tell me to help when Lin Yi's life was in danger? Although he's injured now, his life isn't in danger." "You." Tian-chan was speechless. Tian Dai was too obedient. She did whatever she was told. Couldn't she be flexible? However, Tian-chan couldn't say much. She could only say what happened next. Then, when Lin Yi returned home, people from the Dark Palace came looking for trouble. With that, Tian Dai told Tian-chan about what happened. Tian-chan fell into deep thought after hearing it. She frowned. The Dark Palace is too daring. How dare they question the results of our Heavenly Elixir Sex test? "Yes, that's why I came back in a hurry," Tian Dai said. Lin Yi didn't mention his injury, and only told Gu Xian about the Dark Palace coming to ask for the recover pill. This Palace of Darkness is too shameless. How could they do something like this? Gu Xian was shocked. This is a bit of taboo. The Sky Elixir Sect trial results are decided by them. If they find out that the Dark Palace changed the results like this, they won't just sit by and watch. The point is, will the Sky Elixir Sect notice such a small thing? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Plus, we're both ancient sects, so they should at least have some face, right? They wouldn't fall out because of a solo practitioner like me, right? That's true, but the relationship between the Dark Palace and the Sky Elixir Sect isn't that good. Gu Xian said, "But if they threaten to hurt you, then there's really nothing we can do about it. If it really doesn't work, I'll give my recover pill to you, boss. We got the benefits from this. If it wasn't for us, the Palace of Darkness wouldn't have come looking for trouble with you." "No need, I have one. If it really doesn't work, I'll just give it to them and say it's yours. I'll think of something in the future," Lin Yi said. Okay. Gu Xian didn't think much about it. He didn't know that Lin Yi was injured, and thought that Lin Yi compromised because he didn't want to mess with the ancient sections. After all, this was different from the trial. During the trial, one didn't have to worry about their background. But when they returned to the real world, they couldn't. Although the Dark Palace was weak, they still had people at the peak of the late phase of Sky Class. After hanging up, Lin Yi went to bed early. He didn't have to train at night, so he was extra free. As for old Lin Yi didn't call him. Lin Yi didn't know what the poison was, and what it was made of. Calling old Lin would only cause him more trouble. The next morning, Lin Yi wanted to have a rare good sleep, but he didn't expect that just as the sky brightened, the black-clothed elder's voice came from outside the villa. "Lin Yi, kid, come out now." The black-clothed elder roared. Lin Yi frowned. He really was a ghost. After leaving yesterday, he came back early in the morning. It seemed like his excuse didn't matter at all. Qintian and the others were woken up as well. Lin Yi was pushed out of the villa by Qintian, but the person outside made Lin Yi freeze. What he didn't expect was that beside the black-clothed elder, there was someone that Lin Yi was very familiar with. It was Zhao Qibing. "Zhao Qibing, what are you doing here?" Qintian saw Zhao Qibing and shouted. You guys didn't expect this, did you? The black-clothed elder of the Dark Palace has taken me in as a disciple. I'm a disciple of the Dark Palace now. Lin Yi, do you really want to kill me? Do you want to wait until you recover and destroy our hidden house, Zhao? Zhao Qibing looked at Lin Yi proudly. Not now, right? I'm a disciple of an ancient sect, under the protection of the Dark Palace. Let's see if you still dare to touch me. Lin Yi laughed coldly, but didn't say anything. The Dark Palace now seemed stronger than Lin Yi, but one day, when Lin Yi recovered and could instantly kill a Sky-class late phase peak master, the Dark Palace wouldn't be worth mentioning in Lin Yi's eyes anymore. So, there was no use in saying anything now. Let Zhao Qibing be happy for now. One day, he'll settle the score slowly. Oh, so you're here to tell me this? Lin Yi asked, his tone neutral. Chapter 2950. With that, he didn't wait for Lin Yi to reply, and continued. Or else, I'm not afraid to tell you that my master came from an ancient sect. It's not convenient for him to kill people, but it's convenient for me. I've always hated Meng Yao and Yushu. Let's see if the hidden house you dares to stick their noses into the ancient sect's business. Qibing smiled coldly. Besides, don't think that I'll still attack you just because you have a Sky class with you. If you do, you'll be provoking the entire Palace of Darkness. At that time, the Palace of Darkness will have a reason to kill all of you. Even the other ancient sects won't stop the Palace of Darkness from taking revenge. Qibing's words were vicious. If Lin Yi didn't agree, he'd attack Meng Yao and Yushu. He even threatened Lin Yi's people not to fight back. If they did, they'd be provoking the ancient sect, and the Palace of Darkness would come to destroy them. If Lin Yi wasn't injured, he wouldn't have to suffer like this even if he wasn't as strong as the Palace of Darkness. But now he had to lower his head. Lin Yi couldn't do anything to this shameless method. At this time, Meng Yao and Yushu walked out of the villa. Their faces changed slightly when they heard Qibing's words. It wasn't obvious, but Lin Yi's sharp senses picked up on it. Yushu was the type of person who wanted to see the world in chaos, but today, she was unusually quiet. She didn't refute Qibing's words, but stood behind Lin Yi quietly, waiting for Lin Yi's decision. Yui was afraid that Qibing and the others would return, so he walked around Lin Yi's house and saw this headache-inducing scene. Before, when the Palace of Darkness came to ask for pills from Lin Yi, Yui didn't think much of it. But today, he realized that Elder Black-Clothed and Qibing were in cahoots. Under these circumstances, Yui didn't dare to step up, especially when Qibing said that House Yu wouldn't meddle in other people's business. This made him hesitate even more. House Yu had a background, but they were still a hidden sect. It wasn't realistic to go against the ancient sect. Haha, Lenny, what do you think? Speechless now, right? If you know what's good for you, hand over the pill, or I'll do it. Qibing waved his hand and threatened Lin. I'll destroy Meng Yao's face first, then I'll break Yushu's legs. I hate this big Yushu the most, so after I break her legs, I'll smash her boobs and let them dangle in front of me. It's annoying. Lin Yi frowned. There was nothing Lin Yi could do about Qibing's vulgar words. Just when Lin Yi was about to nod and agree, a cold voice sounded behind Qibing and the black-clothed man. An ancient sect actually came to the common world to cause trouble. Who gave you the courage to do this? Elder Black-Clothed was shocked, and so was Lin Yi, because they didn't realize that there was another person nearby. Even Yi, who was hiding not far away, changed his expression. He didn't know when this person appeared. Even he, a Sky-class master, didn't notice him. But in the next moment, Yi understood because the owner of the voice didn't hide his strength. He was a Sky-class master at the peak of the late phase. You? Who are you? Elder Black-Clothed's expression changed as well. Yi could sense the person's strength, and Elder Black-Clothed was no exception. A Sky-class master at the peak of the late phase, in the ancient sects, would be like the sect master, Grand Elder, or Grand Elder. Why would he appear here all of a sudden? I'm just a passerby. This was a gentleman in white with an elegant demeanor. He was holding a paper fan in his hand. Although he looked very carefree, his voice carried an unapproachable tone. I'm Elder Black-Clothed of the Dark Palace, under the orders of the Grand Elder, to recover the stolen goods that Lin Yi stole. I don't care who you are, but please don't interfere with the rights of the Dark Palace. Elder Black-Clothed spoke fiercely. After all, this person was a top master in the cultivation world. Stolen goods? How come I didn't know it was stolen goods? The young master in white looked at Elder Black-Clothed and asked coldly, What do you know? This is an internal matter of the Dark Palace. Although you're a Sky-class master at the peak of the late phase, we don't have to report it to you, right? Elder Black-Clothed braced himself and said, I don't care about other things, but this involves the interests of my sect. The sky's silkworm transformation, have to take care of it. The young master in white closed his paper fan and looked at Elder Black-Clothed coldly. Your sect? What are you? What? You said you're the sky silkworm transformation? Elder Black-Clothed suddenly realized and looked at the young master in white in shock. You said you're the young master of the sky elixir sect? That's right. The reward of the Sky Elixir Sect's trial is issued by the Sky Elixir Sect. How can the Dark Palace tell us what to do? The young master in white was, of course, Tian Dai. She rushed back overnight and didn't expect to see this. She immediately stepped out to stop it. Elder Black-Clothed looked at the young master in white, his eyes filled with hesitation and unwillingness. He didn't believe that the Sky Silkworm transformation would personally take care of this. This wasn't a big deal at all. He thought that maybe this was one of Lin Yi's lackeys pretending to be him, but his strength wasn't fake either. However, Elder Black-Clothed still asked, as far as I know, young Master Tian is very busy every day. How would he have a time to take care of such a small matter? How can you prove your identity? Isn't this enough? Tian Dai casually tossed a token towards the black-clothed elder. The black-clothed elder took it in his hand and looked at it. His eyes froze. This was indeed the token of the head, young head and elders of the ancient sections. The tokens were made by all the ancient sects after discussion. Naturally, the black-clothed elder recognized it. Even he himself had a token of the Dark Palace's elder. This was for the convenience of the ancient sects when they went out to do things. It was to prevent the flood from rushing into the Dragon King's temple and not recognizing one family member. Thus, Elder Black-Clothed didn't doubt it anymore. Although he was unwilling, he still respectfully returned the token to Tian Dai and cupped his fists. Elder Black-Clothed of the Dark Palace greets young Master Tian. Since young Master Tian has intervened, I'll leave first. Chapter 29:51. Wait, who said you could leave? Tian Dai's tone was cold as she blocked the elder and Qibing's path. Young Master Tian, since you're interfering, can't we leave? Why are you stopping us? The black-robed elder frowned. Could it be that the heavenly silkworm transformation still wanted to pursue the matter? Kneeled down and apologized to him. Tian Dai pointed at Lin Yi and said coldly to the elder, You? After hearing Tian Dai's words, the black-clothed elder's face suddenly turned red. He never thought that the heavenly silkworm transformation would make him kneel to a rogue cultivator. What kind of humiliation was this? Didn't you hear me? Tian Dai frowned. She'd been imitating Tian Chan all this time. Tian Chan's silkworm transformation in Sky Elixir sect had always been cold and ruthless. This was the image that the outside world recognized, but Tian Dai didn't know that Tian Chan had a soft side too. Young Master Tian, don't go too far. We, the Dark Palace, are in the wrong for interfering with the prize of the Sky Elixir Sex test. But we're all from the ancient times. We'll see each other all the time. You want me to kneel to a junior freelancer? Did I hear that right? The elders said angrily, We, the Dark Palace, are not pushovers. Kneel! Tian Dai only said 2 words. Zhao Qibing, let's go. Let's see what he can do. The elder waved his sleeves and was about to pull Qibing away forcefully. As far as he was concerned, even a Sky-class late phase peak master wouldn't attack Silkworm transformation for no reason. The black-clothed elder didn't even see how the Silkworm transformation was used before Qibing's arm fell off. If you don't kneel, I don't mind helping you with your broken legs. Tian Dai said faintly, I heard that your training is called 1,000 legs, using a broken leg to cultivate. However, I might break it more thoroughly and directly cut off both of your legs. After that, I wonder if you can still cultivate 1,000 legs. With that, Tian Dai pointed her finger, and a fireball shot out from her hand, landing on Qibing's severed arm on the ground, turning it into ashes immediately. My arm. Zhao Qibing looked at his arm that had turned into ashes. His eyes rolled back, and he fell to the ground. He had been fantasizing about bringing his arm back to the hospital to reattach it, but now his arm had turned to ashes. What the hell was he supposed to do? In the future, he would be a crippled one-armed man. How could Zhao Qibing not faint at the thought? Although he was an expert in leg techniques, as a cultivator, losing an arm was a fatal injury. Cold sweat dripped down from the black-clothed elder's forehead. The rumors were indeed correct. The heavenly silkworm transformation was a tyrannical and ruthless person. Although he looked like an elegant young master, the rumors of him using beauties as cultivation furnaces were most likely true. From his methods, it could be seen that he was a vicious and merciless person. What kind of fire is this? How can it have such high temperature? Is this refinement fire? The elder asked in shock, but he was confused. No, this shouldn't be refinement fire. How can refinement fire be so powerful? At this time, Lin looked at the handsome young man in front of him in shock. He almost blurted out, "Forging fire." This beautiful young man in white was actually using the forging fire. The forging fire can actually be used as a martial skill. How could it have such high temperature? It could even burn a cultivator's body to ashes. However, although Lin was confused, he couldn't say it out loud. The sudden appearance of silkworm transformation made Lin very puzzled. Even more puzzled than Yui's appearance yesterday. It was understandable that Yui was related to Yu Ning, but what about silkworm transformation? Lin believed that silkworm transformation was here because of his relationship with Kong Ming, but it was a bit unrealistic that silkworm transformation was here to help him. Could it be that silkworm transformation said that he was here to protect the fairness of the Sky Elixir sex trial? This was a bit unbelievable, wasn't it? Looking at silkworm transformation in front of him, he seemed to have seen him before, but he didn't seem to have seen him at all. Lin racked his brain to think if he had met this handsome young man before. However, Lin was disappointed to find that there was no such person in his memory. As familiar as it was, Lin really didn't know who silkworm transformation was. He couldn't be blamed, however, since Tian Chan was a girl in male attire. Tian Chan looked similar to Tian Chan, and even more so in male attire, but they were two different people after all. It was normal that Lin couldn't recognize Tian Chan after so many transformations. "You want to try?" Tian Dai asked coldly. "No, I don't want to." The elder stuttered, his face pale. Zhao Qibing was an Earth-class early phase, and though he was an Earth-class late-phase peak, in front of silkworm transformation, he was nothing more than a piece of cake. The problem was that silkworm change seemed to be in the right this time, but the problem was that they were strong. Even if the other ancient sects knew that silkworm change was making a big deal out of nothing, no one dared to say anything. This was a super ancient sect. Who would be willing to stand up for a weak dark palace? "That depends on your performance," Tiandai said. The black-clothed elder's face turned from white to red, but in the end, he still endured the mental struggle and knelt on the ground with a plop. He said to Tian Can, "Young sect master Tian, please forgive me. I came here on the orders of the Grand Supreme Elder. I was wrong. I don't dare to interfere with the Heavenly Elixir sect anymore. It's not me, it's him." Tian Dai pointed at Lin. She didn't have any other reaction towards the elder's actions. "Lin young master Lin, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Please say something." The elder knew that this wouldn't end if Lin didn't say anything. He didn't know why silkworm transformation had to ask for Lin Yi's opinion, but he had to do it no matter what. Chapter 2952. Yes, yes, yes. Elder Hain nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Everyone else looked on curiously at this dramatic scene, especially Old Pie and the others. They didn't know why Silkworm was doing this. If it was for the fairness of the Sky Elixir School, then they could have just punished Elder Hay. There was no need to ask or care about Lin Yi's feelings. But now, it seemed like Lin Yi was the main character. Could it be that the Sky Elixir School was purposely showing that they were the participants, so that more trial takers would trust them and participate in the next Heavenly Elixir trial? Since Lin Yi has forgiven you, then I'll let it go this time, Tian Dai warned. Don't do it again. Yes, young Master Tion, don't worry. Elder Black-Clothed quickly promised as he pulled Cheebing up from the ground. Cheebing was missing an arm, but as long as he had a leg, it wouldn't affect his 1,000 legs training. Young Master Tion, I'll be leaving now, wait. Tion Dai once again spat out 2 words that caused the black-clothed elder's heart to palpitate. Young Master Tion, is there anything else? Elder Hay asked carefully. You're fine, but he's not. He hasn't kneeled yet. Tion Dai said. He's just my disciple. He has nothing to do with this, right? Besides, he's already fainted. Elder Hay said helplessly. Earlier, weren't the 2 of you together? Tion Dai asked instead. That. All right. Elder Hay had no choice but to slap the back of Cheebing's neck, waking him up. Master, save me. Cheebing cried out in fear as soon as he woke up. Stop yelling. Kneel down and apologize to Lin Yi, and then I'll take you away. Elder Hay didn't want to stay in this embarrassing place any longer. Although the people from the Palace of Darkness were good at changing the direction of the wind and being shameless, it still didn't look good. Cheebing froze as he looked at the elder in confusion. Kneel to Lin Yi? To him? We're from an ancient sect. I'm already kneeling. Why aren't you kneeling? Why are you talking so much nonsense? The black-clothed elder said angrily. Hurry up. Zhao Cheebing was a little confused, but when he noticed Tinya's cold gaze, he shivered in fear. Although he was unwilling, he still knelt in front of Lin Yi. This humiliation made Zhao Cheebing want to die. Why? He was already a disciple of an ancient sect. Why did he have to kneel down to Lin Yi, a freelancer who had lost to the hidden house Zhao? This contrast was driving him crazy. In the morning, he'd come to Lin Yi's place in high spirits, thinking that he'd be able to turn Yushu into Miss Cripple in front of Lin Yi. Who would have thought that he'd become a one-armed cripple instead? I'm sorry, I was wrong. Cheebing almost cried. Although he admitted defeat in front of Lin Yi before, things were different now. At that time, Lin Yi was strong, and he was just a weakling. But now, he was a master, and Lin Yi was an injured person, but he still knelt, still had to apologize. This was too much. He looked at the arrogant Zhao Cheebing kneeling in front of him, and then at the green face of the black-clothed elder who didn't dare say anything, and then at the indifferent face of the silkworm transformation, as if he didn't care about anything at all. Lin Yi finally understood one thing. If he wanted to make his voice heard in the world of the strong, he had to be stronger. Having a strong backing was the biggest source of confidence for Sky's silkworm transformation. Although the Dark Palace also had heaven-class late-phase peak masters, they definitely didn't have as many as Sky Elixir Sect. This was why Sky's silkworm transformation dared to point fingers in front of the black-clothed elder. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't do it without a strong force. If his followers were all Sky-class masters and formed a force comparable to the ancient sects, would Dark Palace still dare to act like this? Of course, even if Lin Yi understood this, it wouldn't help right now. Compared to the ancient sects, Lin Yi lacked a strong foundation. If Lin Yi didn't increase his own strength, he wouldn't be able to increase his followers' strength. This was a classic example of a man ascending to the heavens. Unlike the ancient sects who had many talents and many ways to increase their strength. With that thought, Lin Yi knew that he was being too impatient, stepping into the ancient level too early. He was only an Earth-class late phase, and although he could kill Sky-class mid-phase, that was still Earth-class late phase. If he was Sky-class and knew how to concoct Chi-gathering pill, then his followers would be Sky-class early phase as well. Would Dark Palace still dare to act like this then? The thrill from fighting higher levels. It made Lin Yi lose himself, ignoring the restriction of his strength level. It made Lin Yi feel that as long as he could kill higher-leveled enemies, his level didn't matter. But that wasn't the case. Increasing one's true strength was the way to go. Young Master Tion, is this okay now? The black-clothed elder waited for Cheebing to apologize before asking. Hand over the pills in your hands to Lin Yi. It's an apology. Then you can leave. Tion Dai said. What? Our Chi gathering pill? Why do we have to hand it over? The black-clothed elder was completely hysterical. Silkworm transformation was pressuring him, and he finally exploded. We've already apologized. Why do we have to hand over our own things? Don't you Sky Elixir sect want to maintain fairness? That belongs to us. Why do we have to hand it over? You made a mistake, and if it's just an apology, then I'll kill you and apologize to Dark Palace. Okay? Tian Dai said expressionlessly. You can refuse, but there's no more chi gathering pill. This is my decision, not a single third-level pill. What? There's no more chi gathering pill? The black-clothed elder's expression calmed down. The chi gathering pill was for one to increase her strength. How could there be no more? If there was no more, the Grand Elder would kill him when he returned. With that thought, the black-clothed elder had no choice but to take out a small box from his pocket and throw it in Lin Yi's direction. All right, we'll give you the Great Recovery Pill. Chapter 2953. If that's the case, you can leave now. Tian Dai waved her hand at the black-clothed elder, indicating that he could leave. Let's go. The elder gritted his teeth and pulled Qibing, leaving this sad place with him. What did it mean to lose two birds with one stone? If Elder he hadn't been greedy and returned to the Dark Palace with Zhao Qibing after taking Hao Xiao's pill, there wouldn't have been so much trouble. Both of them were Earth class. It was only a matter of seconds for them to leave. When the two were far away, Lin Yi said gratefully, "Thank you, young Master Tian, for upholding justice. And I'll be going if there's nothing else." Tian Dai nodded, turned around, and flew away. She left quietly, not taking a single cloud with her, just like how he came quietly. "Boss, you're friends with young Master Tian?" Han Xiaopa asked, confused. "Nope, first time meeting him." Lin Yi shook his head. If they were friends, it was with Qikuan. Back at the Sky Elixir Inn, Silkworm transformation had gone to him. But the news of Zhao Qikuan's betrayal hadn't been made public yet, so Silkworm transformation should be closer to Zhao Qibing, not Lin Yi. Could it be that Silkworm transformation was really here to uphold justice? That's weird, he's obviously on our side, or else he wouldn't have given us the pill. Zishan was quite puzzled by Silkworm transformation's actions. It's fine, we can't understand the thoughts of the masters of the ancient sections. Since everything's fine, that's for the best. Old Pai waved his hand and said to Qintian, "Push Mr. Lin back, it's windy outside." "Yes." Qintian nodded and pushed Lin Yi back. After Tian Dai left, naturally, she went to report to Tian Chan Elder, he brought Qibing back to the Dark Palace, only to be met with the Grand Elder's rage. Of course, it wasn't directed at them, but at the Sky Elixir sect. "Silkworm transformation, you've gone too far. Isn't it because Wanner didn't marry your father? Do you really have to suppress us like this?" The Grand Elder blamed Wanner for the Silkworm transformation's strange behavior today. She glanced at the silent Yuaner and said, "Yuaner, because of your mistake, our Dark Knight Palace fell to the bottom of the class. Look at it. The heavenly Silkworm transformation actually helped that little bitch suppress us." Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, was shocked because he saw a mature version of Chu Mingyao here. Could the Grand Elder be referring to Mingyao as a little bitch? There must be a hidden story behind this. After discovering this secret, Qibing felt like he was on steroids, full of energy. This was a huge discovery. It seemed that the Grand Elder was very displeased with Lin Yi and Mingyao. If he became a disciple of Dark Knight Palace in the future, as long as he got on the Grand Elder's good side, would he be able to plot against Lin Yi and Mingyao? At the thought, Qibing smiled coldly. Lin Yi, we didn't expect this, did you? Zhao Qibing, found an ally here. Next time, you'll be the one begging for mercy, not me. As for Yi Wanner, Qibing guessed that she had a close relationship with Mingyao, but so what? Qibing understood that in the Dark Palace, the Grand Elder had the right to speak, and Yi Wan the Palace Master, was just a puppet with no real power at all. "Grand Elder, I'll work hard and try to get the inheritance as soon as possible," Yi Wanner said sadly. "It's good that you know how to work hard. At the Sky class meeting, I don't want our Dark Knight Palace to be removed because of you, the Grand Elder said. News of the silkworm changing Lin Yi's strength quickly spread back to the hidden house Zhao. The old Zhao, who'd been overjoyed, felt as if he'd fallen into an ice house, losing all of his emotions. Hidden house Yi supporting Lin Yi was understandable, but silkworm supporting Lin Yi? How is that possible? Didn't Lin Yi have a grudge with the Sky Elixir sect? Hidden house Yu, on the other hand, received the news immediately, but they were even more confused than Hidden House Zhao. Wasn't there poison given to them by Elder Kong Ming of the Sky Elixir sect? Why was Silkworm Change standing up for Lin Yi now? Now, even the Qinshan sect and Jinzhong sect, who were looking for a chance to find Lin Yi, gave up. No matter how strong they were, they didn't dare go against an ancient sect, especially one of the strongest ancient sects. Not long after Tian Dai returned to the Sky Elixir sect and reported to Tian Chan was summoned by the Xianxian Elder. Because Kong Ming also received an inquiry from Hidden House Yu. This meant that the Elder got the news. Tian Chan wasn't worried. She had already thought of a reason and went straight to the Elder's room. But what made Tian Chan unhappy was that Kong Ming was there too. Silkworm Transformation greets Master Xianxian. Tian Chan greeted respectfully. Sit, Silkworm Transformation. Xianxian Elder nodded and gestured for Silkworm Transformation to sit down. Silkworm Transformation didn't decline and sat across from Xianxian Elder. This was a treatment that even Kong Ming didn't have. After all, Silkworm Transformation was the young sect master of the Sky Elixir sect. Martial Uncle, why are you looking for me? Although Silkworm Transformation had a rough guess in his heart, he still pretended not to know. Silkworm Transformation, I heard that you went to East Ocean City? Xianxian Elder asked calmly. To help Lin Yi resolve the conflict with the Dark Knight Palace. Yes, Master Uncle, I just came back. Silkworm Transformation nodded and answered readily. Oh, don't you know that I have a conflict with Lin Yi? Why did you help him? Xianxian Elder's tone was calm, but there was a hint of reproach in it. I know, but compared to Lin Yi, I dislike the Dark Knight Palace even more. Tian Chan answered. The Dark Knight Palace and the Sky Elixir sect have been enemies for many years. And this time, I'm not helping Lin Yi. I'm doing this for the fairness of the Sky Elixir sect's trial. Oh, what do you mean? Xianxian Elder was slightly stunned, but he was satisfied with Tian Chan's answer. The conflict between the Sky Elixir sect and the Dark Knight Palace was accumulated from the previous generation. Of course, it was also because of the two ruthless people who interfered and didn't let Yi want to abort her child and follow the young sect master of the Sky Elixir sect as a concubine. Otherwise, the Dark Knight Palace and the Sky Elixir sect would be in-laws and wouldn't have such a huge conflict. Chapter 2954. This time, we planned the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect, and many cultivators died. Although this is not a big suspicion, after a long time, there will still be people who will suspect it. Now that I'm going out, I am making a gesture to show that the Heavenly Elixir sect is fair and just. Even if the trial is over, the rewards obtained in the trial will be protected by the Heavenly Elixir sect. In this way, there will be more participants in the next trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect. So that's how it is. You're thinking too much. Patriarch Xianshan nodded and said with relief, however, if the plan succeeds this time, there will be no need to refine elixirs in the trial anymore. So that's how it is. My disciple is meddlesome, Silkworm Transformation said. It's not meddlesome. You are the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect. Of course, you have to prioritize the reputation and interests of the Heavenly Elixir sect. You did nothing wrong. Patriarch Xianshan waved his hand and said, forget about this matter. Avoid Lin Yi in the future. Don't help him. Yes, disciple understands. Tian Chan hurriedly replied with her head lowered. However, an almost undetectable determination flashed across her eyes. It disappeared in a flash. Okay, you go back first. Patriarch Xianshan waved his hand, indicating that Tian Chan could leave. After Tian Chan left, Patriarch Xianxian looked at Kong Ming and said to him, "This is a trivial matter. According to the report, Lin Yi's meridians and elixir field have been destroyed. Even if he has a 4th grade recover pill in his hands, it will be useless because he can't refine the pill at all. One more 3rd grade great cyclic pill is just one more joy." "That's true. I was a little impatient." Kong Ming quickly and carefully admitted his mistake. "Silkworm transformation. Although he is your senior, he is already the young master of the heavenly elixir sect. Try not to question what he does in the future." Patriarch Xianxian pondered for a moment and warned Kong Ming, "Master, isn't the heavenly elixir sect a subsidiary of our 5 elements sect?" Kong Ming was slightly stunned. "It is a subsidiary, but the heavenly elixir sect has been following the 5 elements sect all these years and has reaped many benefits. Our 5 elements sect is only hidden behind the scenes. The benefits on the surface have been taken by the heavenly elixir sect. The power of the heavenly elixir sect has expanded rapidly in the past 20 years. From what I can see, it is not inferior to the Day and Day sect." Patriarch Xianxian solemnly. "See? Is there something you can't see?" Kong Xiaoming was taken aback. "Who doesn't have a trump card? 5-5 sect, 5-5 sect. Sect, elixir sects 6 will be sects 5. However, Kong Xiaoming already understood what Ancestor Xianxian meant. 5 elements sect seemed to be holding back as well. What he saw might not be 5 elements sect's full strength. Thinking of this, Kong Ming could not help but be excited. "Since the heavenly elixir sect is our subsidiary, won't we investigate if they are hiding something? If you want a sect to work for you with a peace of mind, you either have to be absolutely strong, or you have to let them have a trace of illusion and a trump card, making them think that we can't completely take them down." Patriarch Xianxian waved his hand and said, "You are still young, so you don't understand the mentality of these superiors." "Oh, I see. Then why didn't our 5 elements sect go to the front? If we went to the front, wouldn't we be able to obtain more resources?" Kong Ming asked doubtfully. "Haha. In fact, it seems that not going to the front was the right choice. If we went to the front, I reckon that little E and I would not be in the 5 elements sect anymore." Patriarch Xianxian said with some emotion. "Master, what do you mean? What do you mean not in the 5 elements sect anymore?" Kong Ming did not understand what Patriarch Xianxian meant. This matter has to start from a past event more than 10 years ago. There were 2 heavenly path masters who came out of nowhere and ran amok in the entire ancient times. They took away all the masters with the strength of peak late stage of heaven stage. Those who resisted had only one way out, and that was death. It was said that those who followed could successfully advance to the heavenly path. Patriarch Xianxian thought of the past and felt a little scared. Fortunately, the 5 elements sect was led by Boss Xianxian in the past. They were low-key, so the 2 masters did not discover the existence of the 5 elements sect. Otherwise, the 5 elements sect would not have been spared. Heavenly Path Masters? There are really Heavenly Path Masters in this world. Kong Ming realized today that he was a frog at the bottom of a well. Those 2 people are too overbearing, right? Those who resist will die. Isn't that unreasonable? In the world of cultivators, the weak are prey to the strong. How can there be any reason? You poison Lin Yi, isn't that unreasonable? Patriarch Xianxian shook his head and said disapprovingly, That's true. Kong Ming just remembered that wasn't the same for him. Moreover, these 2 heavenly path masters, who are known as the Vajra dual evils, are not unreasonable. In fact, in the world of cultivation, which master with the strength of peak late stage of heaven stage is not a little dirty. They have also killed people and snatched other people's treasures. If these are listed, it will also be a crime. Patriarch Xianxian said, if they casually take out one of them, you can't do anything. Then isn't it better to follow them? Isn't it possible to advance to the heavenly path? Kong Ming was still a little puzzled. That's what you say, but who saw it? For thousands of years, The only way we cultivators know to advance to the heavenly path is to open the heavenly stage island and advance to the heavenly path there. It's not the so-called following others to advance to the heavenly path. Patriarch Xianxun said, moreover, from the looks of it, the cultivators who left with the two of them have completely disappeared. There's no news of them in the Jianghu anymore. So, I think there's an 80% chance that they won't return. What do those two heavenly path masters want to do? Kong Ming Ming asked curiously. I don't know about that. Heavenly path masters have strange thoughts. It's not something that we can infer. Without reaching that level, no one knows what people at that level are thinking and what they are looking for. Patriarch Xianxun shook his head and said, all right. Kong Ming Ming nodded and stopped asking. Instead, he asked, by the way, Master, are you still going to refine Lin Yi's extreme qi gathering pill? Chapter 29:55. That makes sense. Master, you're the one who thinks far ahead. Kong Ming Ming flattered. In fact, he had thought of this a long time ago. It was just that he couldn't make a decision on this matter, so he asked the Xianxun ancestor. The Xianxun ancestor glanced at Kong Ming Ming. With his wisdom, how could he not see through Kong Ming Ming's hypocrisy? However, the Xianxun ancestor didn't say anything. He liked Kong Ming Ming's personality. He felt that this disciple of his would definitely surpass his other disciples in terms of evil and immoral. This was also the reason why the Xianxun ancestor often let Kong Ming Ming accompany him. It was a great thing in life to have a disciple who was equally immoral and immoral. What happened today, although it was scary but not dangerous, made Linny break out in a cold sweat. If it wasn't for the timely appearance of silkworm transformation, Lin Yi would have to hand over the recover pill. However, even if Lin Yi handed over the pill, with Zhao Qibing's evil personality, he might not let Meng Yao and Yushu go. He would definitely do something to disgust Lin Yi. Although Zhao Qibing's third leg was broken, he wouldn't do anything dirty. Lin Yi believed that Yao Wang didn't have the ability to heal him so quickly, but the more it was like this, the more perverted Zhao Qibing's mentality would be. Today, with silkworm transformation, he dodged it. Lin Yi couldn't guarantee what would happen next time. This time, although Lin Yi didn't encounter any imminent danger, the worry in his heart was even stronger, because he couldn't predict what would happen. If Kong Ming Ming got the news and brought people to cause trouble, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to defend against it. So, after dinner, Lin Yi looked at the people in front of him and made a difficult decision. I'm going to pack up and bring Shu and Yao Yao back to West Star Mountain Village. We'll hide for a period of time. After I leave, those enemies won't come after you guys. You guys can go home. Although Lin Yi's tone was very normal, anyone could see the helplessness and loneliness that flashed across Lin Yi's face. Lin Yi's words made everyone who had just finished eating fall into silence. The first time Lin Yi was injured and became a cripple, he had mentioned returning to the West Star Mountain Village. Although many of his subordinates weren't around at that time, he had heard the news from others after the incident. This time, Lin Yi had to go back again. Clearly, he had reached the end of his rope and was at his wit's end. This was not what everyone wanted to see. Boss, wherever you go, I'll follow. Although you don't need me to be your bodyguard, I can still help out. Wu Qintian was the first to say that he wanted to follow Lin Yi back to West Star Mountain Village. I don't have much to do, so I'll just bring Jishan and Jihai to Mr. Lin's old home for a stroll. Just treat it as a vacation. Old Pai smiled and said casually. Haha, Old Pai. It seems like we have the same idea. We don't have much to do in House Han, so we'll just go for a vacation. Old Han Tianba also said, we won't be happy if you guys don't bring us along. We're all the boss's subordinates. Why can you guys go, but we can't? Zhuang Niao Qiang immediately said. Hearing the words of his subordinates, Lin Yi was very touched, especially the two Zhuang brothers who followed him. Lin Yi felt that the people around him were very loyal. These people would be the backbone of Lin Yi's strength when he raised them to sky class and stepped into the ancient level. Of course, I'll welcome you guys as guests. Lin Yi didn't say anything else and only nodded to them before turning to Meng Yao and Yushu. Yao Yao, what do you think? Shu and I will be fine, but I'll have to inform Dad first. Ming Yao was naturally very happy to follow Lin Yi back to his old home, but she acted very calm on the surface, as if it was something normal. Yao Yao, it's just the two of us this time. You have to take this chance and fight for the top spot. Yushu raised her fist and encouraged. Shu! Ming Yao kicked Yushu under the table. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not. I'm just telling the truth. Yushu pouted, feeling wronged. What do you mean only the two of you? Weren't you the ones who went with me last time? Lin, he felt that his thoughts were a mess. Lin, he vaguely remembered that the last time he went to West Star Village was with Meng Yao and Yushu, but it didn't seem like it. Meng Yao glared at Yushu, annoyed. She wasn't angry about the top spot, but the fact that it was just the two of them this time. This would definitely cause Lin Yi to misunderstand. So it really did happen, didn't it? Yushu realized that she'd let the cat out of the bag and laughed. It was the same last time, but Yaya didn't take the initiative last time. All right, Shu, let's not talk about this anymore. I'll call Dad now and tell him about this. Meng Yao went along with Yushu's words and changed the topic. With that, Meng Yao picked up her phone and dialed Peng Zhan's number. Lin, he was confused, but he didn't want to disturb Meng Yao while she was on the phone. Meng Yao briefly told Peng Zhan about Lin Yi's injury, to which Peng Zhan said that he'd rush over with Faubert immediately. Peng Zhan was currently expanding in Donghai, but he was usually busy, so he could rush over in no time. As expected, not long after, Faubert drove Peng Zhan and son Luoyue to Lin Yi's villa. They were in the middle of a meeting when Meng Yao called, and son Luoyue had returned to normal. Naturally, she was helping Peng Zhan's new company in Donghai as an assistant, so she could accompany Faubert more often. How did this happen? Faubert was shocked when he saw Lin Yi's injury. He was one of the people who knew about Lin Yi's miraculous abilities. Wasn't Lin Yi able to heal himself? Why couldn't he do it this time? Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he told Li Fu and Peng Zhan about the trouble he'd run into. The miss hadn't been able to explain it clearly on the phone, either, and she'd only given a vague summary of the situation. Chapter 2956. Li Fu. Actually, Mr. Lin Yi's problem isn't incurable. Sun Luoyue listened to Lin Yi's current situation and thought for a moment before saying, the main problem now is that as long as Mr. Lin's meridians and Dantian are healed, and he takes 2 Qi gathering pills, he can break through the barrier of the Earth class and ascend to the Sky class. That way, the effects of the poison will be neutralized. Luoyue, we know that, but the problem is, how do we heal his meridians and Dantian? Lin Yi's Dantian is broken, and he can't refine the pills. Faubert smiled bitterly. I'm not talking about the pills. Sun Luoyue shook her head. Did you forget about our Sun family's inner force? You mean you? Uncle Fu stared blankly for a moment before asking doubtfully. But right now, besides healing me, you can't heal anyone else, can you? It's not me. Sun Luoyue shook her head. You mean Jean E? Faubert finally understood what Sun Luoyue was trying to say. He slapped his forehead and said, how could I forget about your family's exclusive inner force technique? If Genie helps, then Mr. Lin's problem can be easily solved. But to repair the Dantian, you need to reach the 2nd level of the technique. The 1st level is not enough. Sun Luoyue shook her head and said, I'm only at the 1st level. I can't repair the Dantian. Isn't the 2nd level able to heal 2 people? Why does it need the 2nd level to repair the Dantian? Faubert asked doubtfully. The Dantian's complexity is no less than a person's meridians. It's just that there aren't many cultivators with a broken Dantian, so it's not a special case. Actually, the 2nd level means that it can heal 2 people, including the meridians, but not the Dantian. Sun Luoyue said, this method can only work if Jean E works hard. Jean Yi's technique has actually reached the 2nd level. Lin E interrupted Faubert and Sun Luoyue's argument. What? You've reached the 2nd level? Faubert and Sun Luoyue were surprised. Really? How could her cultivation speed be so fast? It's true, but she relied on the energy stone that Faubert's sect brought back, said Lin Yi. Faubert, I even asked you about it at that time. So it's that energy stone. Faubert was enlightened. That's great. hurry up and contact Jingyi. Although I'm her father, we haven't acknowledged each other yet. It's not good to tell her about these things. On the other hand, although Lin Yi was sure that Sun Jingyi could repair his meridians and Dantian, he was a little embarrassed. After all, this was equivalent to wasting 2 of Sun Jingyi's healing targets. From now on, Sun Jingyi couldn't do anything other than focus on healing him. Wasn't this the same as harming her? From now on, her future cultivation would be completely for him. This was really embarrassing for Lin Yi. So Lin Yi asked, "Can I only repair the Dantian and not the meridians?" Sun Luoyue was slightly stunned, but she still said, "It's possible to repair the meridians and not the Dantian, but it's not possible to repair the Dantian without the meridians. If you want to repair the Dantian, you must go through the meridians. If your meridians are fine, naturally you can repair the Dantian alone, but now you can't." "I see." Lin Yi felt helpless. He didn't know if he should call Sun Jingyi. "Mr. Lin, you are our family savior. Even Jingyi wouldn't be alive now if you didn't sacrifice yourself to save us in Woolen Hate Mountains." "She will definitely agree." Faubert saw Lin Yi's hesitation and persuaded. "Yeah, isn't Jingyi sis your half-lover? If something happens to your half-lover, she will definitely help." The miss was disappointed that she couldn't go back to West Star Village, but Lin Yi's recovery was what she wanted to see the most. As for Sun Jingyi's jealousy, she wasn't jealous anymore. After all, she was Faubert's daughter. No matter who she fought with, she wouldn't fight with Shu and Sun Jingyi because they were the most important people by her side. Just like Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao before, and now Ling Shan and Wang Xinyan. These people who sacrificed their lives to save her and Lin Yi. The miss had no reason to hate them. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and made up his mind. With Qin Tian's help, he called Sun Jingyi. Not long after the call connected, Sun Jingyi's lazy voice came from the other side. "Lin Yi, you looking for me? Why are you sleeping at this time?" Lin Yi froze when he heard Sun Jingyi's voice. "Yeah, because I've been training lately, I've been jet lagging. You didn't come looking for me and left me alone in the hotel, and I'm starting to get confused." Sun Jingyi's voice sounded a little bitter. "The test is over, and you didn't come looking for me. You didn't go back to house, Sun?" Lin Yi was surprised. He didn't think that Sun Jingyi would still be in the hotel. "No, you didn't ask me to go back," Sun Jingyi said. "Then can you come to my villa now? I have something to discuss with you," Lin Yi said. "Now? To your villa? Meng Yao and Yushu aren't there?" Sun Jingyi was confused. "Yeah, you'll know when you come." Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't really like Sun Jingyi before, because Sun Jingyi seduced Lin Yi in front of them the first time they went to a bar. It made Sun Jingyi feel embarrassed, so she wouldn't appear in front of them if there wasn't anything special. "Okay, I'll go now," Sun Jingyi said and hung up. Sun Jingyi's hotel was nearby, and after about 10 minutes, Sun Jingyi's car stopped in front of the villa. "Huh, why are there so many people?" Sun Jingyi entered the villa and realized that it was like a big meeting. There were so many people in the living room, and when Sun Jingyi's eyes fell on Sun Luoyue, she was surprised for a moment. But when she saw Lin Yi in the wheelchair, she couldn't care less and asked nervously, "Lin Yi, what's wrong?" Let Xintian talk about this. Lin Yi had explained it many times already, so he let Xintian tell his problem to Sun Jingyi. Chapter 29:57. But as she said that, Sun Jingyi's face reddened noticeably, something only she and Sun Luoyue understood. "There's no rush. This is just the first step. Even if I fix my meridians and Dantian, I don't have a chi gathering pill on hand. Besides, one won't do. I'd have to take 2 in a row." Lin Yi said, "Of course, it'd be even better if we could find the antidote. We wouldn't need chi gathering pills anymore. You wouldn't even need to help me heal. There shouldn't be an antidote for this." Fu Bai shook his head and said, "I've heard of this poison when I was at the same level, but I've never heard of it having an antidote. Generally, those who are poisoned by this poison will be crippled if they don't use a chi gathering pill to break through. But if they use a chi gathering pill to break through, they will also be crippled. They will be stuck at a certain level, unless the sect is very strong and has an endless supply of chi gathering pills. But I'm afraid that besides the Heavenly Elixir School, no other sect can refine so many chi gathering pills. There really isn't. Lenny sighed. It looks like we'll have to go back to Westar Village. We can't stay here until we find 2 chi gathering pills. The Sky Elixir sect might have solved the problem with the Dark Palace today, but there's no guarantee that they'll come back for revenge tomorrow. What? The people from the Dark Palace are here? Peng Zhan heard Lin Yi's words and looked at Lin Yi, agitated. Uncle Chu, you know about the Dark Palace? Lin Yi paused, not understanding. They're here for trouble today. Peng Zhan was shocked after hearing Lin Yi's words. They're here for trouble? For what? It's not for anything. They're just looking for trouble. With that, Lin Yi told Peng Zhan about the Dark Palace. They're here for the 3rd level pill? Peng Zhan let out a breath of relief. Nothing else. No. Is there anything else I should ask for? Lin Yi asked curiously. Nothing. Peng Zhan shook his head absent-mindedly, as if remembering something. Uncle Chu, is there something wrong with this Dark Palace? Lin Yi felt that Peng Zhan was hiding something. No, it's fine. Peng Zhan waved his hand. Let's not talk about this. When are you guys planning to go back? Since it's been confirmed, it's naturally better to do it as soon as possible. A long night is fraught with problems, Lin Yi said. All right, tomorrow it is. You guys pack up, Faubert, and I will send you off. Peng Zhan nodded. There's no need to send us off. We'll leave on our own. It's better to keep a low profile. Lin Yi said. I said the sooner the better, but I'm not saying tomorrow. There are probably a lot of people watching here, and even if I leave, they'll be able to stop me on the way. I want to wait, at least for now. The Dark Palace won't come looking for trouble, and the other forces will have to think about their own strength to avoid angering the Hidden House Yu and Sky Elixir. Chu Pengzhan nodded. All right, you decide for yourself then. Jingyi, it's a little sad right now, but I have something good to tell you. Lin, he turned his head to Sun Jingyi. What is it? Sun Jingyi was thinking about something embarrassing, her face red as she lowered her head. She couldn't help but be shocked when Lin spoke to her. What? What do you want to say? Your parents aren't actually dead. Lin didn't know what Sun Jingyi was thinking about, but he didn't think too much about it. What? My parents aren't dead? Sun Jingyi's eyes widened, and all her thoughts were thrown to the back of her head. Suddenly, she thought of something and looked at Sun Luoyue in shock. That's right, you might have guessed it already. Faubert and Grandma Sun are actually your birth parents. Lin Yi nodded. Sun Jingyi's eyes reddened, but she didn't doubt Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi must have done a lot of research to be able to tell her with such certainty, and Sun Luoyue's appearance proved it even more. However, Sun Jingyi never thought that Faubert and Grandma Sun were her parents. Jingyi Lili is right. Luoyue and I are your parents. Faubert looked at Sun Jingyi nervously and expectantly and said slowly, Actually, when you guys came back from Wulong Haut Mountain Range, I knew about it when Lin Yi took out the energy stone. It's just that your mom and I have a strong enemy, and we were afraid that it would affect you, so we didn't acknowledge you. But I didn't expect that even if we didn't acknowledge each other, we still caused trouble a while ago, and almost harmed you and Lin Yi. Luckily, it's all over now. Is this true? I'm not dreaming, am I? Sun Jingyi felt that today's events were like a dream. Lin Yi was injured, and she found her birth parents. Jingyi's sis, Faubert is really your father. Meng Yao also knew about this from Lin Yi and Faubert. Sun Jingyi suddenly understood. No wonder Meng Yao's attitude towards her changed so much. It was because she was Faubert's daughter. Sun Jingyi's guess was right. Meng Yao really thought so. Faubert treated her like his own daughter, and he saved her many times. Now that Faubert found his daughter, although this daughter seemed to have some relationship issues with Lin, Meng Yao still accepted it gladly. Just because she was Faubert's daughter, she was no different from her own sister. Just like how Shu usually treated her, she never treated her as an outsider, and she wouldn't fight with her. Dad, Mom, these were the words that were buried deep in Sun Jingyi's heart for many years. She thought that it would be very heavy, but when she said it out loud, it was incomparably light. Jingyi, Sun Luoyue, was the first to cry. Faubert, on the other hand, was much stronger. He kept smiling at Sun Jingyi. Mom, Sun Jingyi pursed her lips and took a step forward, jumping into Sun Liyue's arms. Although everyone thought it was funny that Sun Jingyi would do something like this, they could understand how Sun Jingyi felt. Chapter 2958. Meng Yao sighed softly at the thought. But where was her mother? Sun Jingyi had just acknowledged her parents, and Faubert and Grandma Sun dragged her into the house for a chat. Outside the house, Lin, Yi, and the others were discussing when to leave, but just as they were discussing, there was a knock on the door. Chen Tian went to open the door, and it was Han Jingjing. "Linny bro, how are you?" Han Jingjing rushed into the villa and saw Lin Yi in the wheelchair. Her face was filled with worry. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing's travel-worn appearance. Lin Yi didn't want to disturb Han Jingjing's practice, so he didn't tell Han Xiaoqiao to inform Han Jingjing, but the commotion outside the villa must have startled the bookworm, so he told her when Han Jingjing came out to eat. Because Lin Yi saw the corner of Han Jingjing's mouth. There were biscuit crumbs. She must have just eaten, but he didn't know why she looked like she just came back from a long journey. "I'm just injured." "Jingjing, you're out of practice?" Lin Yi asked. "But how many days have you not slept for? Why do you look so tired?" "1 day and 1 night, it's nothing." Jingjing heard that Lin Yi bro was injured, so I rushed over. Han Jingjing said, "Is there anything Jingjing can help with?" "Not at the moment." Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Originally, Lin Yi wanted to find a chance to test his alchemy skills after the test, but he was busy condensing the forging fire and neglected alchemy. He didn't expect that he would be crippled now, and he couldn't do alchemy anymore. "Right, Jingjing, I plan to go to Star West Village in a few days. Do you want to come?" "Back to the West Star Mountain Village?" Han Jingjing was slightly taken aback. Lin Yi told Han Jingjing about his plan to return to the West Star Mountain Village to take refuge temporarily. However, after Han Jingjing heard it, her eyes flashed with an imperceptible envy and expectation, but she concealed it very well. She only said with regret, I can't leave during these few days of research. Otherwise, all my previous efforts will be wasted." "Is that so?" "It doesn't matter. You shouldn't provoke any enemies by cultivating in seclusion here. Just be careful." Lin Yi nodded. "If worst comes to worst, you can hide in Hidden House Han, Hidden House Pai, or Hidden House Shuang. There's no need for that. I'll just stay here and train in seclusion." Han Jingjing said, "Big brother Lin Yi, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. And go back and rest early. Don't think too much. This matter will be over soon." Lin Yi comforted her. Han Jingjing nodded her head and left without saying anything else. On the highway from Donghai to Yanjing, a car sped through the night, the everyday and everyday sect. "Chunyang, how's Nai Peo?" Pingyang had no news of Nai Peo walking out his heart's demon for a few days now, so he came to ask Chunyang Skymaster worriedly. His body had the mind of the Mad Dragon Master, but it also had Pingyang's thoughts. Nai Peo was still his follower. "Master, Zhang Nai Peo is still in solitary practicing, and hasn't gotten rid of the demon in his heart. This time, Lin Yi dealt him too much of a blow." Pir Yang smiled bitterly. "This is a tribulation that all practitioners of the chrysanthemum arts have to go through. When you're in high spirits, you'll receive a fatal blow and walk out of your heart's demon. You'll reach a higher level in your martial arts, but once you take it too hard, you'll be stuck in a dead end for the rest of your life. Then what's the solution?" Pingyang frowned. "Walking out of the heart demon himself is the best way. But if that doesn't work, then we'll have to kill the person who made it happen, forcing him to walk out of it. But there's a downside to that as well. Killing Lin, you would cause Nai Peo to lose the motivation to train, and that wouldn't be worth it." Chunyang explained. "I see." Pingyang frowned. "But if he can't walk out of his heart's demon forever, wouldn't that be even worse? How about this? We'll wait a bit. If Pao can't walk out of his own heart's demon, then we'll let Chunin go and kill Lin Yi." "Chunin?" Chunyang paused. Chunin was his disciple, but he was a training maniac who didn't pay much attention to the sex affairs. Other than seclusion, he was always in seclusion. He was Sky-class late-phase peak now, and if he were to kill Lin Yi, then Lin Yi would die for sure. But Chunyang was a little worried. Master, our everyday sect is interfering with the common world's affairs. Won't that cause trouble? What kind of trouble? Just let him disguise himself and not let others find out. Pin Liang said casually. Don't you know what assassination is? Chunyang's mouth twitched. This was the first time he heard of an ancient sect sending someone to kill someone, and they had to disguise themselves. Even though the everyday day sect was a demonic sect, they still had their own principles. They wouldn't play games of hiding their identities, because ancient sects had their own pride. However, Mad Dragon's master still had Pin Liang's soul and thoughts in his body. Hence, that crooked method naturally affected Pin Liang's thoughts, causing Pin Liang to come up with this idea that Chunyang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Disguise. This isn't something that can be easily disguised. Techniques, strength, and figure. As long as someone is willing to investigate, they will be able to find out and implicate our everyday sect. Pure Yang Empyrean said with a bitter smile. Then he has no evidence. Besides, Lin Yi is dead. Who can avenge him? Among these ancient sects, apart from the Five Elements sect, who else dares to provoke us? Pin Liang curled his lips. Besides, we killed Lin Yi because of Zhang Naipeo. Even if Five Elements sect finds out, we're still doing it for the plan. Someone as important as Zhang Naipeo is in trouble. Five Elements sect won't just sit and watch. Makes sense. It was only then that Chunyang remembered that Naipeo was an important part of the plan as well. As long as the Five Elements sect stood on his side, there wouldn't be any problems. He nodded. All right, it's settled then. Let's have Chunying go. Chapter 29:59. So, either something big had happened, or it was a disciple who didn't know the rules. Master Mad Dragon Master, I have something to report. The one who spoke was the follower of Pure Yang Sky Master. Come in. Upon hearing his follower's voice, Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang knew that something big must have happened. Hence, he let him in and asked what happened. According to the information, Master Mad Dragon told us to keep a close eye on Lin Yi. He was poisoned, and his meridians and dantian were destroyed. He's a cripple now, the follower said. Oh, what's going on? Tell me in detail. Pin Liang paused and asked. It's like this. The follower told Pin Liang the news he got. It wasn't a secret that Lin Yi had a falling out with the hidden house Zhao, being poisoned and having his meridians and dantian destroyed. The Dark Palace went to cause trouble for Lin Yi, but they were stopped by the young master of the Sky Elixir sect. However, Pin Liang didn't mind Sky Silkworm Transformation's interference. These two were completely different people, so how could they be related? As far as he was concerned, Sky Silkworm Transformation was just to show that Sky Elixir sect was fair and just to attract more participants to the next Sky Elixir sect test. This is good news. Lin Yi has so many enemies. Even if we don't do anything, someone else will. Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang said, Master, if someone else were to take action, it would save us the trouble of hiding it. Then let's wait and see. If no one else does, then we'll kill Lin Yi. Pin Liang nodded in agreement. Hidden House Zhao. These few days, Hidden House Zhao had been paying close attention to Lin Yi's movements, hoping that someone would kill Lin Yi. So when the black-clothed elder appeared, they were very excited, but they didn't expect that Zhao Qibing would lose an arm and the black-clothed elder would leave quietly. Zhao Qikuan, does Lin Yi know the young master of the Sky Elixir sect, Sky Silkworm Transformation? Old Zhao felt that something was fishy. Why did the Sky Elixir sect have to do something like this? In the past, these ancient sects were all high in mighty existence. Old Zhao didn't even see them once in a few years. Why did they all appear all of a sudden? Nope. Even if someone were to appear, it would be the vice leader of the Ice Palace, Feng Xiao, not Silkworm Shapeshifter. Qikuan, naturally, didn't mention that Shapeshifter had asked him about Lin Yi during the test. In fact, Qikuan didn't think much about it. He didn't want to cause trouble. As far as he was concerned, Silkworm Sky, Silkworm went to ask about Lin Yi during sake. It wasn't strange. This was the silkworm Lin. Skies see. T. Silkworm Chio S. Chiquin. T. Sky, how's he doing now? I heard that he's already in Sky class. Old Zhao asked concernedly. He couldn't ignore this. Now that Chiquin was back, if he didn't take care of his relationship with Chijiu, it would affect the unity of House Zhao. It would be fine if Chijiu was just a normal Earth class, but if he was Sky class, what would happen if he got into a conflict with Qibing? He should be Sky class. Chiquin wasn't too sure himself. After all, everyone in House Zhao had seen Chijiu's letter. What he knew, the others knew too. Here, if you're free these days, go to the Ice Palace. Tell him that I told you to come and see him. If he's missing anything, our hidden House Zhao will take care of it for him. I'll write another letter myself later to encourage him. When he comes back, I'll let him join the hidden house you. Someone like you, following Qibing around. Old Zhao said. Hearing Old Zhao's words, Chiquin didn't say anything on the surface, but he was smiling coldly in his heart. How could he not know what Old Zhao was thinking? Promise Chijiu great benefits, and let him join Qibing's side. As far as Old Zhao was concerned, Chijiu used to follow Chiquin, but he was still a part of House Zhao. His loyalty to House Zhao should be higher than Chiquin's. As long as he served House Zhao, as long as he didn't betray House Zhao, he could totally join Old Zhao's side. What Old Zhao was doing was actually a ploy as well. Chijiu, as a disciple of the hidden House Zhao, had to send a letter back, and it was impossible for Chiquin to hide Old Zhao's letter and not send it out. He just expressed his goodwill to House Zhao, and now he was betraying House Zhao again. Of course, Old Zhao underestimated Chijiu's loyalty. Chijiu was the same as Chiquin. During the Ice Palace test, he was indebted to Lin Yi's help. He was just like Chiquin, grateful to Lin Yi. As long as Chiquin didn't betray Lin Yi, Chijiu wouldn't betray Chiquin. What hidden House Zhao? In Chijiu's eyes, it was nothing. If he stayed in the Ice Palace like this, he'd be able to get the position of an outer elder. There were no men in the inner sect, but the manager of the inn, Li, was living a good life, wasn't he? Yes, Grandpa. Chiquin pretended to hesitate before nodding. His expression, however, was a little unnatural. Of course, it was all an act. Old Zhao saw this and was very pleased with Chiquin's performance. If Chiquin had agreed right away, he wouldn't have believed it at all. The more hesitant he was, the more it represented the struggle in his heart. The final decision was the most effective one. I'll write the letter now. There was a reason why Old Zhao sent Chiquin away. Qibing was studying in the Dark Palace and wasn't at home. If Chiquin were to stay here, he might use his connections to form an alliance with the other members of House Zhao. Old Zhao was the head of the house, but he knew that this was a problem. The only solution was to make sure that Chiquin wasn't at House Zhao. Even if he didn't have the excuse of visiting Chijiu, he would still find a reason to make him leave. Chapter 2960. At home, Old Zhao praised Chijiu profusely, hoping that he would return and contribute to House Zhao. Elder Bai had passed away, and Elder Mian had taken over his position. But Elder Mian was old, after all, and the younger generation needed to find another disciple to take over his position. Old Zhao hinted that it would be Chijiu. Chiquin looked at Old Zhao's letter, smiling coldly inside. Old Zhao had said that Elder Mian's position was his, and now was Chijiu's. But Chiquin didn't care about Elder Mian's position at all, so he pretended that he didn't peek and looked around. This letter, just give it to Chijiu. Old Zhao didn't even show it to Chiquin after writing it, sealing it up and putting the seal of House Zhao on it before giving it to him. Okay, Grandpa. Chiquin was much more obedient after the mental struggle. He took the letter respectfully. When do I leave? You should pack up and set off today. Old Zhao wanted to send Chiquin away as soon as possible, so he decided Chiquin's fate with a wave of his hand. Chiquin didn't say anything, just nodded and went back to his room to pack up. But what made him feel regretful was that he couldn't get the recipe for the poison. The food was gone when he and Qibing sent Lenny away, and there was nothing left. He could only wait for the recipe, but no one brought it up after that, not even Chiquin himself. After packing up, Chikuin drove towards the ice palace. He had wanted to go take a look at Lin Yi, but he didn't want to cause trouble. After all, who knew if old Zhao trusted him or not? Would he be watching him in secret? In fact, old Zhao really did ask Elder Mian to follow Chikuin for a while, and when he saw that Chikuin was really heading towards the ice palace, he returned to the hidden house. Although Faubert and Sun Luoyue were overjoyed at the reunion with Sun Jingyi, they still had their own things to do. Peng Zhan's company was in a period of growth, especially after giving Lin Yi such a large sum of money to support Fatty Lai's company. Peng Zhan and Faubert had no choice but to work even harder. In order to save on expenses, they had to do many things themselves. And so, the next morning, Peng Zhan left Lin Yi's villa with Faubert and Sun Luoyue, while Sun Jingyi stayed behind to treat Lin Yi's wounds. Jingyi, should we start healing now? Meng Yao and Yushu went to school to deal with their exams. Lin Yi had special privileges, but they didn't. They had to apply for leave. Now, Sun Jingyi, on the other hand, wasn't as generous as before. She was a little shy after hearing Lin Yi's words. Jingyi, if you think it's too hard, then forget it. I'll think of something else. Even if my meridians and dantian recover, there's no medicine for me to take, Lin Yi said quickly, thinking that Sun Jingyi was regretting her decision. No, Sun Jingyi shook her head. I'm already very happy to be able to help you. You've always been helping me, saving me, but I'm afraid that Yao Yao won't be happy. Her? How could she not be happy? She'd be happy to see you heal me, wouldn't she? Lin Yi found it strange. When healing, I need to take off my clothes. Sun Jingyi had shed her strong woman facade and was no different from a normal girl. She was only 1 or 2 years older than Lin Yi, so it was reasonable for her to be shy. Take off my clothes? Lin Yi blinked, but then smiled. Why would Yao Yao be unhappy if I take off my clothes? It's not like she's the one taking off her clothes. Besides, a doctor has the heart of a parent. At that time, Yao Yao was still naked, and I cured her. Lin, it's not you taking off your clothes. It's the two of us taking off our clothes together. Sun Jingyi blushed as she explained, but she was a little surprised. The miss was such a conservative person, yet she'd take off her clothes in front of Lin Yi. Although Sun Jingyi could see that the miss liked Lin Yi, it didn't mean that she would take off her clothes. After all, the two of them hadn't reached this kind of relationship yet. It seemed that the miss's guard against Lin Yi was much lower than she thought. You also want to take off your clothes? Lin Yi was a little surprised to hear Sun Jingyi's words. Why do you want to take off your clothes? Ordinary healing, naturally not necessary, but to repair the meridians and dantian, I need to use a medium to transfer the qi in my body to all the acupuncture points in your body, so you must take off your clothes. Otherwise, as long as there is a barrier, it will be ineffective. Sun Jingyi explained. Was the medium? Lin Yi suddenly realized. He was using his art of dragon mastery to estimate Sun Jingyi's situation, but although the art of dragon mastery was similar to the Sun family's heart technique, it was different after all. The medium is water. We must be in the same closed pool so that the treatment can be completed. Sun Jingyi said, 2 people take off their clothes and be in the same closed pool? Isn't that a couple's bath? Lin Yi thought about it and felt a little flirtatious. If Lin Yi didn't have any thoughts about Sun Jingyi, it would be fine. However, Lin Yi also had a good impression of Sun Jingyi. After all, he wasn't half a lover for nothing. The two had experienced so many things together, and they already had feelings for each other. You don't have to worry about Yao Yao and the other's feelings. This is mainly your own feelings. Lin Yi smiled bitterly after listening and said, You have made such a big sacrifice. Why do you still ask others? I myself am willing. Sun Jingyi said softly. Looking at Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi sighed slightly in his heart. It seemed that he owed another debt of love. Now he had Xiao Xiao and Xin Yan. Although Miss and Shu didn't fully express their feelings, Lin Yi also felt that these things must be returned in the end. However, now Lin Yi had thought it through. He didn't have as many concerns as before. These girls could follow him and help him without hesitation when he was injured and in trouble. Lin Yi wasn't an iron heart. How could he not see it? Chapter 2961. This was a promise that Lin he made from the bottom of his heart. And Sun Jingyi nodded shyly and happily. She could understand what Linny meant and was very happy now. You know why my mom married my dad, right? But don't feel wronged. I have Xiao Xiao, Xinyan, the Miss, and Shu by my side. Don't be sad, Linny said. Xiao Xiao and I are so close. She even helped me to mess with Wu Qintian. She won't have anything to say about it. And with Xinyan's personality, she won't fight for anything. As for the Miss, don't forget about my father. Sun Jingyi was at ease and didn't feel any danger. You thought it through. You didn't plan this beforehand, did you? Linny smiled and joked. Yeah, I did it on purpose. Actually, we don't have to use water as a medium. I said water on purpose. Sun Jingyi smiled. I just wanted to upgrade our relationship from half lovers to full lovers. Huh? Really? Linny paused and asked. Really? Sun Jingyi nodded solemnly. Not only do we not have to use water as a medium, we can do it without a medium. Without a medium? Lin, he was even more surprised. He felt that Sun Jingyi didn't sound like she was joking. Could be true. And you could push me down too, Sun Jingyi said and looked at Lin Yi's stunned face and giggled. All right, we might as well use water as a medium. Although I think it's a good idea. Our development isn't that fast yet? Linny asked. I think so too. Sun Jingyi nodded. It's a bit too fast to do it so quickly. Linny nodded. Although he was slightly disappointed, he still respected Sun Jingyi's choice. Then when do we start healing? Anytime, Sun Jingyi said. But to be honest, you really don't need water as a medium. Other things can also be used as a medium. What else is there? Linny didn't think that there was another way. For example, we can take off our clothes and bury us in the ground, or jump into a bonfire, or jump into molten iron, or freeze us in ice. Anyway, among the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, other than wood, we can do it. Sun Jingyi explained. Forget it. Let's go with water. Lin, he shook his head after hearing this. Although it was a little dirty to be buried in the ground, at least it was reliable. Jumping into a fire, molten iron, or freezing into ice. Weren't these all suicidal actions? Before he could heal himself, he had already died. Sun Jingyi also laughed. So I didn't lie to you. What I said was the simplest and most feasible method. Let's go. We'll take a bath together. Lin, he was in a wheelchair, so it wasn't convenient for him to move. He could only let Sun Jingyi push him into the bathroom. Qintian and Pai Jishan, on the other hand, were a little surprised. Why was Jingyi pushing Lin Yi to the bathroom? After all, the two had been talking in Lin Yi's room, and now they were going to the bathroom? It was indeed surprising. Boss, what are you going to do? Qintian couldn't help but ask. It wasn't that he had feelings for Sun Jingyi. He was just worried about Lin Yi. Taking a bath together. Lin Yi joked. Don't disturb us. Oh. Qintian was full of questions, but it wasn't his place to ask. He could only watch as Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi walked into the bathroom. Since it was decided, Sun Jingyi didn't hold back anymore. After all, this wasn't the time to be reserved. She couldn't just wait for Lin Yi to help her take off her clothes, could she? Lin Yi was injured, and he couldn't take off his clothes. Only Sun Jingyi could do it for him. After filling the bathtub with water, Sun Jingyi slowly took off her clothes. Although her back was facing Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi could still feel her face burning. She didn't think that her first time being honest with Lin Yi would be under such circumstances. But this was good. Sun Jingyi gritted her teeth and took off the rest of her underwear before coming back to her senses. Lin Yi's breathing was a little rushed. Sun Jingyi's body was undoubtedly perfect. On her smooth skin, there was a healthy glow, long legs, a perfect body. Especially when Lin Yi's eyes moved to Sun Jingyi's upper body. He couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Although Lin Yi had seen Yao Yao and Shu when they weren't wearing clothes, that was only when he was treating them. This time, he was going to be in the same room with Sun Jingyi for a long time. The water in the bathtub was steaming, and it quickly filled the entire bathroom. This kind of hazy feeling made Lin Yi feel like he was in a fairyland, peeping at a fairy taking a bath. especially when Sun Jingyi's delicate cheeks had a touch of blush and shallow dimples. It made the current Sun Jingyi had an indescribable temptation. Jingyi, don't tempt me, okay? Lin, he had a physiological reaction, and he couldn't help but say, with a bitter face, "You're thinking too much, okay? I just want to treat your injuries." Sun Jingyi said seriously, "Okay, then my clothes." Lin, he could only lower his head and try not to look at Sun Jingyi. However, some things couldn't be easily forgotten after seeing it. Even if he didn't look at it, it would make his imagination run wild. "I'll help you take it off." Sun Jingyi walked over, bent down, and started to help Lin unbutton his shirt. However, this posture made Sun Jingyi's majestic chest jump into Lin Yi's eyes. Even if Lin Yi lowered his head, he could still feel the shining white in front of his eyes. Especially the delicate fragrance on Sun Jingyi's body. It made it even more difficult for Lin Yi to refuse. His self-control, compared to when he first returned to Songshan, was indeed a lot worse. Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh. Lin Yi didn't have much clothing on him, only a shirt and a pair of shorts. So Sun Jingyi quickly helped Lin Yi take off his shirt, but the shorts were a bit difficult to take off. Lin Yi sat in a wheelchair, and both his arms and legs were broken. He couldn't use any strength at all, so Sun Jingyi could only use her strength to forcibly tear off Lin Yi's shorts. Chapter 2962. Although it was strenuous for Sun Jingyi to pull, Lin Yi was relieved. Finally, there was no white in front of him. If he knew this, Lin Yi would rather not take advantage of this and let Sun Jingyi take off his clothes first. "Jingyi, you can do it." Sun Jingyi gritted her teeth and encouraged herself. Then, she pulled Lin Yi's shorts hard with both her legs and hands. She pulled it down. Put on. There was a loud noise accompanied by Sun Jingyi's scream. Sun Jingyi fell down heavily, but Lin Yi's shorts were successfully pulled down. Because Sun Jingyi used too much force, and the ground under her feet was a bit slippery because of the fog. Sun Jingyi's body was leaning before, so she slipped and fell on the ground. But coincidentally, Sun Jingyi's head was actually lying in the middle of Lin Yi's legs. Ugh! Sun Jingyi felt that her face seemed to be stuck on top of an iron bar. Her face hurt, but she couldn't react to what it was for a while. She climbed up from the ground shakily and looked at what her face was stuck to. But with this look, Sun Jingyi was so shy that her face turned red. She didn't dare to look at Lin Yi. Sun Jingyi thought that Lin Yi would think that she was a pervert and that it was intentional. But I really didn't do it on purpose. Ugh, if your angle was slightly crooked, maybe I would be disabled. Lin Yi saw that Sun Jingyi was embarrassed, and he couldn't help but make a joke. However, after being shocked by Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi couldn't care less about the ambiguity. "Disabled. I will help you heal." Sun Jingyi also chuckled, and the awkward atmosphere between them instantly disappeared. "I'll help you into the bathtub." As Sun Jingyi spoke, she helped Lin Yi into the bathtub. Then, she jumped in and sat opposite Lin Yi. The two of them sat facing each other, which made Lin Yi's heart, which had calmed down a little, jump up again. Then what? Lin Yi tried his best not to think about those messy things. He constantly reminded himself that the most important thing was to heal his injuries. Other things could wait. "Put your hand on me and don't do anything. Just wait for me to heal you," Sun Jingyi said. "Okay." Lin Yi nodded and put his hand on Sun Jingyi's shoulder. "How can there be acupuncture points on my shoulder? Can't you go somewhere else?" Sun Jingyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Go somewhere else?" Lin Yi was stunned. With his posture and angle, in addition to putting his hand on Sun Jingyi's shoulder, the rest was touching her chest. But how could this work? "Hurry up." Sun Jingyi didn't think so much. She was thinking about running the Sun family's mantra to heal Lin Yi, so she ignored this point. "Okay." Lin Yi clenched his teeth. "Since you're already so bold, I'm not going to be a pushover." After that, Lin Yi's hands pressed on Sun Jingyi's chest. "Yeah." Sun Jingyi was shocked when her chest was attacked. Although the target of the attack was Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi still shrank her body subconsciously. What are you doing? Aren't you healing? Is your hand healed?" It's not healed. My arm is injured. I can only barely stretch it out. You don't let me touch your shoulder, so I can only move down. It can only be here. Lin Yi saw that Sun Jingyi really didn't seem to have any special meaning before. He misunderstood, so he apologized. Sun Jingyi was reminded by Lin Yi that Lin Yi's arm was injured. At this angle, if he didn't put it on his shoulder, he could only touch his chest. But you touch me, and I can't calm down to circulate the mantra. Sun Jingyi felt that since she had decided to follow Lin Yi, then it was nothing to be touched by Lin Yi. However, her heart was beating fast. How could she calm down to circulate the mantra? Then you turn around. I will put my hand on your back. Lin Yi also felt that the current action made him a little uneasy, so he said, and Sun Jingyi nodded and turned around. Lin Yi put his hand on Sun Jingyi's smooth back, but even so, Lin Yi's heart still beat faster. After all, this couple bath itself was very ambiguous, and the other stimulated Lin Yi's senses. After taking a few deep breaths, Sun Jingyi calmed down and began to circulate the mantra of the Sun family. After all, it was the first time that Sun Jingyi used a mantra to save someone. Before this, Sun Jingyi had never treated anyone, so she could only fumble forward. Fortunately, the Sun family's mantra was very mature. After circulating, Sun Jingyi didn't feel anything. But Lin Yi was surprised to find that there was an endless amount of qi in the water flowing into his meridians along the acupuncture points of his body. It began to quickly nourish and repair his injuries and meridians. This feeling was the same as when Lin Yi used the art of dragon mastery to heal himself. But the only difference was that Lin Yi didn't need to do anything. He only needed to enjoy it unilaterally. It's effective. It feels exactly the same as when I heal myself. Lin Yi said affirmatively to Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi heard Lin Yi's words and let out a breath of relief. She continued to circulate the mantra, helping Lin Yi heal himself. Meng Yao and Yushu returned home from school, but they didn't see Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. Instead, they saw Chen Tian and the others sitting in the living room, as if waiting for something. Wu Chen Tian, where's Lin Yi? Meng Yao looked at Lin Yi's room curiously. Lin Yi's door was open, but Lin Yi wasn't inside. Boss, Chen Tian hesitated, not sure if he should say it, but he didn't want to lie to Meng Yao. There was no way he could lie about this. He remembered that Lin Yi didn't tell him to keep it a secret when he went into the shower. Boss and Sun Jingyi, they're in the shower. Meng Yao paused and looked at the bathroom in disbelief. She felt an uncomfortable sourness in her heart, but remembering that Sun Jingyi was Falbert's daughter, and that she and Lin Yi used to be half lovers or something, she didn't want to care too much about it. She nodded as if nothing was wrong. Why are they taking a shower? Lin Yi's injuries healed? I don't know. Chen Tian shook his head. Chapter 2963. Meng Yao frowned and glared at Yushu. She didn't think that Sun Jingyi was that kind of person. Besides, even if she did push him down, wouldn't she do it in Lin Yi's room? Why did she have to go to the bathroom? Besides, even if Lin Yi was injured, he wouldn't let Sun Jingyi push him down just like that. It didn't make sense at all. Shu, don't talk nonsense. They must be doing something important. Meng Yao said, don't cause trouble. Oh, Yushu was just saying it casually. She didn't really dare to barge in a bathroom. I just thought that since Jingyi sis pushed Shield Bro down, we can go in and play 4P together. If you want to play, then play by yourself. I'll open the door for you. Meng Yao was a little annoyed by Yushu's words. Naturally, she wasn't in a good mood. I'm the small wife, of course. I'll let the big wife do it. Yushu stuck her tongue out. She really didn't dare. After all, House Yuzu was very strict with her. Although Yushu really liked Lin, she didn't dare cross the line and put her parents in danger. Meng Yao curled her lips. Naturally, she didn't believe Yushu's words. She felt that Yushu was only good at talking. She had always been like this. I'm watching TV. With that, Meng Yao picked up the remote control and switched to a channel with Pleasant Goat. In fact, Meng Yao was a little annoyed herself. Her eyes were on the TV, but her mind was in the bathroom. Although she believed in Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi, she couldn't guess what they were doing in the bathroom. Yushu, on the other hand, was enjoying the show. It pissed Mingyao off. She was the one who wanted to go to the bathroom, and now she was the one who didn't have a care in the world. Qintian and the others saw that the two mistresses didn't look too happy, so they sat on the side and waited for Lin Yi to come out. Happy Goat was done, and Mingyao switched to another sitcom. She wasn't the slightest bit interested in the male and female protagonists' lovey-dovey relationship. Yushu, on the other hand, was commenting from time to time. Yao Yao, look, this girl's breasts aren't even as big as mine, and she's called Pop Goddess. Yao Yao, look at that girl. She's so ugly. She's not even half as pretty as you are, and she's still a otaku goddess. That's enough. If you think you have big breasts, then go act on TV. Meng Yao was getting annoyed by Yushu, and was just about to throw a glare at her when she heard something from the bathroom door. Meng Yao turned around subconsciously and was surprised to see Lin Yi walking out of the bathroom. Behind him was Sun Jingyi, who looked tired and a little shy. Lin Yi, are you all right? Meng Yao was surprised and overjoyed. So Sun Jingyi went to treat Lin Yi. It seemed like she had misunderstood her before. No matter what she did with Lin Yi in the bathroom, it was all for Lin Yi's sake. Meng Yao was relieved at that moment. Jingyi sis, you're the one who treated Lin Yi, right? Thank you. Yao Yao, treating Lin Yi is what I should do. We're good friends, you don't have to thank me. Sun Jingyi shook her head. She didn't think it was wrong to do something like that for Lin Yi. Yao Yao, Jingyi, we're family now. You and Shu, don't make things difficult for her. Lin Yi felt the need to hint. Lin Yi didn't think that Meng Yao and Yushu would do something stupid like that now, but they did reject Xiao Xiao before. Why would I? Meng Yao understood Lin Yi's hint right away. She looked at Sun Jingyi thoughtfully, envious of her for some reason. But on the surface, she said naturally, Jingyi's sis is Falbert's daughter, so she's like my real sister. Yeah. Yao Yao sis's sister is Shu's sister, Yushu said straightforwardly. She never objected to what Meng Yao accepted. But why did you guys go to the bathroom? Wu Qintian said you guys want to bathe together. Meng Yao had accepted Sun Jingyi's existence, but she was still curious. She pretended to be nonchalant and asked casually. It's like this. Jingyi needs a medium to heal. Lin Yi didn't hide anything, and explained why he and Jingyi went to the bathroom to bathe together to Meng Yao, Yushu, and Qintian. Although Lin Yi said it lightly, Meng Yao could still imagine the scene of a man and a woman alone in the bathroom. She was only envious, not jealous. She only nodded, I see. Thank you, Jingyi sis. The next step is to look for the Qi gathering pill, right? Yes. I'll call Kong Ming Ming from the Sky Elixir Sect later and ask him when he can make the pill. But don't spread the news that I'm healed. After all, I'm only healed, but my strength hasn't recovered yet. I'm afraid that House Zhao or the other houses will send people to cause trouble for me, Lin Yi said. Okay, boss, we'll keep this a secret. Qintian nodded immediately. Lin Yi went back to his room to call Kong Ming Ming, while Meng Yao pulled Sun Jingyi away to whisper to her, trying to find out what they did in the bathroom. Sun Jingyi was Falbert's daughter, but she didn't take advantage of her seniority. She knew very well how important Meng Yao was to Lin Yi, so naturally, she would try her best to maintain a good relationship with Meng Yao. When Meng Yao asked about what happened in the bathroom, Sun Jingyi didn't hide anything. She even told him about how she helped Lin Yi take off his pants and threw it on the floor, and her face was on Lin Yi's spot. Shu and Yao Yao laughed when they heard that. Meng Yao let down her guard after seeing Sun Jingyi's honesty. Lin Yi called Kong Ming Ming directly. Kong Ming was confused about Lin Yi's call. Hello, Lin Yi. Kong Ming Ming was surprised that Lin Yi was still in the mood to call him, even though he was crippled. How optimistic was he? Kong Ming Ming, are you done with my Qi gathering pill? Lin Yi didn't waste time with him and asked directly. Qi gathering pill. Kong Ming Ming paused. Lin Yi's Dantian was crippled. Why would he need the pill? Lin Yi, as far as I know, you're already crippled. Why do you still care about pills? Oh, so you know I'm crippled. Did you poison me? Lin Yi said casually. Chapter 2964. Originally, Lin Yi said it casually, but when he heard Kong Ming Ming's tone, he had some doubts in his heart. So it really has something to do with you? Of course not. Kong Ming Ming denied. I am an elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect. Why would I poison? But the hidden Yaowang of the right family is proficient in poison. Oh. Lin Yi heard that Kong Ming Ming was tight-lipped, but he couldn't get anything out of him. So he directly asked, when can I successfully refine the Qi gathering pill? This needs time. You also know that I promised you half a year, and now it's only been a month. How can it be so fast? And I have to be busy with the affairs of the Heavenly Elixir sect, so I can only find time to help you study alchemy. Kong Ming Ming said, but don't worry, I will definitely give it to you within half a year. All right then. Lin Yi also had no choice. Kong Ming Ming did promise before, and since it was agreed to be half a year, Lin Yi could only accept it. Lin Yi hung up the phone, and Kong Ming Ming went to find the Xiantian ancestor. Master, that Lin Yi just called to ask me about the Qi gathering pill. Isn't he crippled? Why does he still want the Qi gathering pill? Do you think there's something wrong with this? Kong Ming Ming truthfully told the Xiantian ancestor about the contents of the phone call between Lin Yi and him. The Xiantian ancestor pondered for a moment and said, Lin Yi's dantian and meridians are crippled, and the Qi gathering pill is indeed useless. However, does he have a younger brother with the strength of the peak late Earth class? Does he want to create another Heaven class master to protect his safety? That's possible. Kong Ming Ming listened to Ancestor Xuantian's analysis and said, if that's the case, then the Hidden Han family's Han Tianba should be an Earth class late phase peak, and the Hidden Zhuang family should also have someone of this level. It's not surprising that he created another sky class. Let's delay him first. Anyway, this matter is not urgent. Maybe in less than half a year, Lin Yi will die first. Then we don't need to refine the extreme Qi gathering pill for him. If Lin Yi is still alive in half a year, then we can refine one for him. If he wants to make a Heaven stage expert, then let him make one. It won't do us any harm. He's just like an ant. If it weren't for Boss Bai, I would have killed him long ago. Would the hidden Zhao family even have the chance to make a move? That's true. Kong Ming Ming nodded in agreement. After a long journey, Qikuan finally arrived at the Ice Palace's territory, Icy Snow Town. Coming to this familiar place again, Qikuan felt a myriad of emotions welling up in his mind. There was him going against Lin Yi, then submitting to Lin Yi, and then meeting that crazy sky-class old man with Lin Yi in the cave. Qikuan's heart ached just thinking about it. Back then, Lin Yi had been so full of himself, but because of his trust in Qikuan, he fell for House Zhao's tricks and became a cripple. As a follower, he couldn't do anything for him. Although Lin Yi didn't blame him, Qikuan still felt bad. He parked the car in front of the Ice Spirit Tavern. At this time, no one was participating in the Ice Palace test, so the tavern was very quiet. An unfamiliar car stopped abruptly, and even the owner of the tavern, Manager Li, came out to see what was going on. Sir, are you here to stay? Shopkeeper Li stood not far away and asked. Although this ice spirit inn was specially built for the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect, it was usually open for business. It also received some backpackers and adventurers. So, Shopkeeper Li asked tentatively, No, I'm here to look for someone. Qikuan parked the car and got out, getting straight to the point. It's you? Manager Li saw that it was Qikuan, recognizing him right away. Back then, after the Ice Palace test, everyone else had left the tavern, and only Qikuan stayed for a while to wait for Lin Yi. Manager Li had a very deep impression of him. Manager Li, you know me? Qikuan was pleasantly surprised that Manager Li recognized him. Yes, your vice sect leader Feng's friend, the family of Steward Zhao of the outer sect. Manager Li was much more polite now that he recognized Qikuan. Is there something you need from me? I have something I need to see vice sect leader Feng about. Can you arrange it for me? Manager Li? Qikuan asked. You can stay here first. I'll help you send a message to the sect leader. If he agrees, Vice Sect Leader Phone will come to see you. Manager Li said. All right. Qikuan nodded and stayed in the tavern, staying in the same room as before. It was obvious that no one had stayed here, since Chiquan left. The decorations in the room hadn't been touched at all. Even if someone had cleaned the room, it was impossible for the room to be the same, like the location of the phone and remote. Managerly didn't dare Tari. After Chiquan checked in, he sent a messenger pigeon to Bingtang, telling her that Chiquan was here and wanted to see Vice Sect Leader phone. After receiving the message, Bingtang didn't give it to Xiao Xiao. She knew about Lin Yi's injury a long time ago, but she didn't tell Xiao Xiao. She didn't want Xiao Xiao to be distracted, and she wouldn't help Lin Yi. If Lin Yi couldn't even get through this, then he wouldn't have the right to talk terms with her. She wouldn't let her be Lin Yi's little wife. Regarding this little wife thing, Bingtang didn't really mind. So when Lin Yi was in trouble, Bingtang didn't help him even once. Aunt Qing, tell Chijiao and Yu Bing to go to Ice Spirit Tavern. Tell them their old friend is here. But Bingtang wasn't an unreasonable person. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but worry about Lin Yi's injury when she saw Chiquan. In fact, even Bingtang couldn't heal Lin Yi's injury, so it was better not to let Xiao Xiao worry for nothing. Bingtang didn't need to think too much to guess why Chiquan was here. He wanted to ask Xiao Xiao for help to help Lin Yi, but what surprised her was that Lin Yi was injured because of Chiquan's betrayal. Wasn't that why he was injured? Why would Chiquan come to the Ice Palace to find Xiao Xiao? Wasn't he afraid of death? There had to be something she didn't know, but she didn't have the heart to ask. She wasn't interested. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.